3 o'clock on a Tuesday. Welcome aboard the Postgame Show alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. I was going to come on doing my best Gerald Ford.
My
Tell
uncle,
everybody that
my
our
Uncle
long
Gerald.
national nightmare is over. But it is. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I know that Bill and JC were just discussing the Sorsby situation from maybe a bigger picture point of view.
So many winners in this. Everybody looks so good in all this, Jay.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to lie. Now, everybody understand where I am kind of kidding when I say this. I'm going to miss this story because, you know, it has been a captivating saga over the last couple of months.
Well, you know what it is? It is kind of, you and I, when we were younger, there was that TV show Dallas when we were kids. My dad loved that show, hated J.R. Ewing. It almost got to the, you know how that show just kept getting, the drama just kept getting bigger and more ridiculous all the time?
But, yeah.
That's what this was like.
Yeah, it kind of has to, right?
Right, because this was obviously Texas-sized ridiculousness, and it just kept getting bigger and more ridiculous like that show, and then all of a sudden you had Bobby Ewing woke up and nothing, and the whole year never happened.
Right.
And so it was reminding me almost of like Dallas, that the TV series, the soap opera, because just when you thought, okay, this can't get more ridiculous, oh look, yes it can.
Yeah, they found ways, but it's over, and we'll get into that. If you've just tuned in, last night, I don't want to say late. I forget exactly what time it was. Well, it was probably after 9, right?
Yeah.
We found out that Brendan Sorsby was going to, have his lawyers drop the suit, and he was going to which would at that point immediately render him back to being ineligible, thus freeing him up to apply to be part of any potential NFL supplemental draft, which, by the way, is not a done
guarantee
as of yet. So, and by the way, I figured out last night too, Terry, we were talking about yesterday when I said, isn't it the 15th? The 15th was the deadline, basically, that his attorneys had kind of set in terms of any rulings, so that he would have a week to then decide beyond that, going into next week, the 22nd, about whether he should do anything with the NFL. So we'll get into that. We'll even talk about how the supplemental draft could work. We got a lot of Gamecock stuff to get to. Our good friend Chris Clark will join us in just a little bit. He was on the air earlier. Terry was even down here with him for a bit. And but Chris will join us. The Gamecocks have a big recruiting weekend coming up. And if you keep up with Gamecock football recruiting, and while we don't do a lot of it on air, we certainly try to keep up with what's happening with the rankings and the visits. And obviously the Gamecock Central guys, in the midday do a lot of that for us here at the station. But it's not been as good a year recruiting wise for Shane and company, despite some new excitement around the offense, despite the fact that Clayton White and his staff have shown such promise in how they recruit and develop, and a lot of that is what you call the negative recruiting. Mm-hmm. And it's certainly understandable. I'm not here to be critical of other schools that are going to look at South Carolina's situation and go to a kid and his family, hey, I don't know what's happening over there. They only won 4 games last year. And this is his 6th year, and they could be,
Not to be, telling tales out of school or passing gossip, but,
But that's what that happens everywhere all the time.
Sure.
And so, how Shane and the crew navigated is one thing. And as some have pointed out, this may be a situation recruiting-wise, and we'll touch on this with Chris, where this actually goes into the season. You'd like to get as many kids locked up, and a lot of these kids like to lock up their commitment before they start their own senior football seasons. And this year for South Carolina, they may be either asking kids to keep a more open mind, or even if they do commit somewhere else, and they'll stay on them. But South Carolina, for a lot of reasons, is going to need a strong start. And we've talked about that a bunch. We will only talk about that more as we get closer and closer every day to the season. But we'll talk with Chris about who's coming in this weekend, what the chances are, how they've done already. And, of course, there was some unfortunate law enforcement news around Gamecock football the other day, and we'll touch on that with Chris and see exactly how that could impact the roster for the current season. So Chris will join us coming up.
Real quick, the good news is all these commitments are verbal. That's the good news.
Yeah, you can certainly. That's why I say you can stay on them. But sometimes, a kid may say, "Look, I've got big state U. I'm committed, and
some do.
Don't call me."
Thank God. And plus, that doesn't stop anybody anyway.
I know.
That's why I always thought the verbal was so funny. We started this whole early signing thing, verbal commitment thing, so kids could concentrate on playing their season and get. Yeah, it doesn't stop.
No, that's the way of the world.
Nope.
But we'll get into those Gamecock things for you too, and a little bit more on baseball. I'm intrigued, and I'll kind of start with this today. Our buddy Jack Veltri had a piece at Gamecock Central about this, and others have talked about it. And of course, Kevin Schnall in his introductory press conference made mention of this as well. That he as a Coastal lifer would like to see the Gamecocks and Chanticleers play on a more regular basis. The Gamecocks obviously have their annual series with Clemson that isn't going anywhere. You've got games with North Carolina and sometimes with NC State. You'd like to see, I don't know if you'll try to schedule home and home on Wednesdays with Coastal. Mm-hmm. It'll certainly beef up Coastal's schedule. For South Carolina, it's interesting. I've asked through the years if the Gamecocks have ever had any interest, Terry, in some of these opening weekend. They're not really tournaments, but they're sort of events where, and I know Vandy has played in a bunch of them as an example. So I'll just use Vandy, and I'm being hypothetical here when it comes to the different names because I can't remember them off the top of my head. But Vandy, like they've gone out. They used to have an event out at the Astros ballpark, whatever they call it these days. It's not Enron Field anymore.
Whoops, yeah. How's Enron doing?
Is it Minute Maid Park? Is that right?
Is it Minute Maid now?
I don't know what it is. Anyway, the one in Houston. Okay.
Yeah, that Houston ballpark.
The Houston ballpark.
I still think it's Enron because that's what it was at the beginning. But yeah, it's Minute Maid.
No, it ain't Enron anymore, man.
No, it hasn't been Enron for a long time.
It ain't Enron. I listened to an amazing podcast. We were driving up to the mountains one day last year. And I mean, man, I like a lot of podcasts like that, but I was enthralled with the scope of Enron and the scope of the deception.
Insane.
I mean, it's y'all. I could not. I mean, I was. And I knew how bad. But when you hear something like that over a 90-minute period.
Oh, you're in, man.
God.
You're in.
I could not believe. I was like, man, they pulled it off for so many years, and it was nothing but a shell game. Nothing but a shell game the whole time. But anyway, in Houston, they had an event, and on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Vandy would play, I don't know, back before the SEC. They might play like Oklahoma. And then the next day they would play Kansas State. And then the next day they would play Rice or something like that. And if the Gamecocks would want to do that, but obviously one of the things I was told is kind of like with football. Hey, look. We got 10 series in the SEC.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We got Clemson, and we got midweeks with North Carolina, and usually a couple of, maybe there's another one in there somewhere, again, maybe an NC State. And beyond that, our schedule's plenty difficult, and it'll be rated just fine once it comes to the committee judging it. So I would love to see this. And I do think it will happen. My question, Terry, would be, will it happen at the expense of, say, playing North Carolina in Charlotte?
Could be. Could be.
And, and how much does Kevin Schnall want to continue to play a game like that? Or to schedule, if it's not if it's not North Carolina, to schedule a game with State? Yep. Maybe to put East Carolina on the schedule, and Coach Godwin's got a great team. Would you try to, who knows? Who knows? But I do think, because Coach Lemonis, Chris Lemonis took over at Coastal, basically said, he said, listen, it's one thing for us to go to Columbia, but we kind of want them to come down here. So again, doing a home and home, what's in it for South Carolina? And that's one of the things that I've always said. I think in having conversations in the past with people around here about scheduling Coastal, it's not any fear in any sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball.
Right.
It's not a fear, but it's one of those things like, what's in it for Carolina? If you beat them, you're supposed to. Mm-hmm. If you don't, it's a big, giant knock against you. Now, baseball might be seen a little bit differently, but you know what, Terry? Only a little bit.
Just right now.
Only a little bit.
Right now, they're better than you. And that shouldn't, and look, there's no offense to Coastal, they shouldn't be better than you. They can be really, really good too, but you should be better than them. Right now, you're not. So you're right. It's a little bit different now because of the situation, but typically in other sports, to your point, what's in it for you? I've always had mixed feelings on this stuff because I understand from the perspective of the big dog, why am I letting the little dog eat when I don't have to?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example of one, though, real quick. Where I'm from in my burg, Maryland basketball and Georgetown basketball. You go back to when John Thompson first took over at Georgetown. Maryland played Georgetown because Maryland smacked Georgetown all over the place. John Thompson took over. Guess who got good?
Right.
Georgetown. Guess who wanted to stop playing Georgetown? Lefty wanted none of that smoke anymore because he was starting to lose. And especially at that time, that was recruiting war in the DMV between Georgetown and Maryland. And Maryland now started losing games to Georgetown, so Maryland said, no thank you, and backed out of it. And
Roberto Duran, no Moss.
Exactly, and they put their hands up. But then Georgetown became the big dog. And they had no problem playing Maryland. Then Georgetown and Maryland played, and some guy named Joe Smith put like a 90 burger on Georgetown.
Right.
And Maryland beat Georgetown. Then Georgetown went, whoa, why are we playing Maryland? So again, it's what's in it for each other. And I'll give you one last one. You unfortunately remember Coppin State. In basketball.
Yeah.
The team that has 15.
I try not to.
Well, that same team, when Gary Williams first took over at Maryland played Coppin, and Coppin beat Maryland at College Park, and they stole Gary's furniture. Guess who stopped playing Coppin?
Yeah.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Because Coppin was Fang Mitchell, the head coach at Coppin. Coppin became really good.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I mean, he was a big deal, man.
And Fang was a dude.
He was a big deal.
And Fang brought all these Philly players with him. I think most of them were, I don't know, they had to be 35 years old. But it's the idea that, again, to the point of what's in it for us.
Right.
And I've always had mixed feelings because I understand it. But also from a fan perspective, I want to see these games. I want to see Georgetown, Maryland. Then when Coppin was good, I want to see Maryland Coppin. I guess if I was a fan, I would be like, man, it'd be fun to see Coastal and South Carolina go at it in baseball because I think it would be good. But if I'm South Carolina or Coastal, I get if you go, like you said, before we get into this conversation, I just got one quick question. The hell's in it for me?
Right.
Because I totally understand this. So I think it's whatever perspective you take on it. If you go fan perspective, you want to see every good game possible. But the programs in different moments are going to go, I don't know about that. Why? I don't think that's really good for me. And I get it. I do.
So, look, I think it will happen? Yes. And I think Kevin even mentioned in so many words, not necessarily next year, or, he didn't say when, but I do think soon enough.
Yeah.
I don't know, look, other than conference weekends where you just know you're going to play those 10 and you know where the Clemson series will fall. I don't know what's already scheduled, and I don't know how many Tuesdays or Wednesdays are already scheduled. I would imagine you would not want to do a game like that in a week where you have a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Right.
And I imagine that's also one where you're going to take it a little more seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
And yet you're not starting any weekend guys, but
right.
It's just like with North Carolina. You want to find a way to be a little more competitive. Both
more
teams
strategic planning.
Yeah, knowing full well that in the grand scheme, it's still a Wednesday game.
Right. I think it would be fun from a fan perspective. It'd be fun to see them play.
Yeah,
but
and I'm just saying that for a Wednesday. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but because I don't envision South Carolina having a weekend series with Clemson and Coastal Carolina and 10
No.
I don't see that.
I don't either. And that's no offense to Coastal, but you're playing Clemson three games on a weekend. You don't want to pile a Coastal 3-game
I don't think
weekend
you're
in
going
there. And that's just that you got to balance it out somehow, Jay. You just can't keep playing hammers constantly.
Right. All right, lots to get to. We'll stay with a few Gamecock news notes for you on the other side. Again, the latest from the football team. Before we talk with Chris, we'll set you up for that. And Dawn Staley's team found out a few things about what it'll be doing in the coming slate. So we'll get into those things for you, too. And I'll update you on the first elimination game of the day. There are two. So 2 more schools going home from Omaha at the College World Series. We'll have that for you when the postgame show returns. Welcome back into the program on this Tuesday. I am a tourist on the World Cup tour from Germany. I'm going to Buc-ee's and to the Waffle House and the Walmart.
The Walmart.
That guy, Freddie, the German guy, my daughter was showing me this morning, got to go to, he's making his way to Texas, but he stopped into New Orleans. And now he's become so famous that the Bensons own both the Pelicans and the Saints, and so he got to go to both practice facilities and take tours of all that. I mean, the dude's becoming he's a rock star, man. By the way, did you see? You probably didn't. Yesterday, Spain and Cape Verde drew 0-0, and if you're wondering, Spain probably should have won like 4 or 5.
Well, there's a crazy 40-year-old bartender made like 100 saves.
Well, they're the goalie for Cape Verde. He is 40. I don't think, unfortunately for me, I don't think he actually is a part-time bartender or a full-time bartender, part-time goalkeeper. I think he's still a full-time goalkeeper. Anyway, apparently yesterday before the game, he had roughly 40,000 followers on Instagram. This morning,
400,000.
Higher.
1 million? 4 million?
Higher.
No, get out of here.
More than 7 million people followed him yesterday.
Are you serious?
I was blown away when that was on the Today Show this morning, and I was like, "Oh my!"
That is the insane power of this. That's why I always say, look.
They said like Josh Allen, Buffalo. Josh Allen has like 3 million.
Right. I mean, and most people don't know who the hell this guy is. They just follow. Say he's some 40-year-old goalie. But that's the point of look in America. Soccer has gained traction, but still a niche sport in this country. But what we don't understand is the power of this sport outside of America is insane.
It's NFL.
You know,
it's NFL times 10.
Yes, you know, because you keep up with it.
It blends everything. I mean, just imagine if all we had was the NFL. And what I mean by that is if you didn't really pay attention, like you had pro basketball, but it was more like if the NBA was the G League, you wouldn't pay attention. But you would take most of that attention and put it in the NFL. Or if baseball was like AA, you would take most of that attention and you'd put it into the NFL. Or the NHL was like the AHL. You'd put it into the NFL. That's what soccer is.
It's
people like rugby and some places like basketball.
But,
we all like golf.
But outside of this country, soccer is the thing.
Yeah.
And when you your example there is that's the deal. In this world, this whole world is like lasered on this tournament. For us, it's like, look, we're an event country. Give us an event and we'll jump in and have fun with it, and then we move on. This is not an event to the rest of the world. This is religion and sports to the rest of the world.
And for a few of these countries, there is only one outcome that should be there.
Exactly.
Which means several of them will be incredibly disappointed.
But anyway, that's fantastic. 7 million's ridiculous.
That's great. What a great story.
France
and Senegal right now 0-0. France, again, the co-favorite with Spain. And we are in the top of the fourth. West Virginia is the road team today, the visitor. Troy is the home team. And West Virginia is leading 2-0. So 2-0, West Virginia. Loser goes home. Tonight, Texas and Georgia. Georgia upset last night 4-3. Masterful pitching performances really from both teams. Georgia gave up 3 in the first. And then the kids settled in.
Aoki?
Yeah, Aoki was brilliant the rest of the game. Just brilliant the rest of the game. And the kid that started for Oklahoma was fantastic. And then the kid that came in for 2 innings was great. I'm forgetting names. Sorry, I don't have box scores in front of me. That's how I am these days. The kid was great.
Yeah, that kid.
But he was, man. Gave up a few solo homers. But other than that, the Sooners were fantastic.
I will say this, though. So Georgia cuts it to 1. The kid Jackson homered earlier in the game. By the way, that still hasn't landed.
I think
that thing was a torpedo. It was like, and he hits it. You and I were talking about this earlier. He hits it and he just looks up and goes, "Yeah."
He looked up and then just put his head down and just started running. He did no celebrate. He's like, that thing's. That's not just gone.
That thing might take
447 feet.
It could have taken out the moon.
Yeah, 447.
And so he comes up 2 on, 2 out in the 9th, and I'm like, well, he's going to at least gap one. Something here is going to happen because he's so locked in. He's had such a great year, and he hits a fly ball into right center and you see the center fielder take off on the angle to go back to the warning track, and then in pure Omaha fashion, that thing loses steam, and he has to come back. What do we think, Jay? 5 feet in front of the warning track, probably.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And make the catch.
Strides, yeah.
And you said it to me before I said it to you. What'd you say to me?
So I think that's out of Foley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that thing died maybe 5 feet in front of the track. And when he first hit it, I thought it might have had something. I don't know about you, because it
took off. Yeah.
It jumped off the bat, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then it just lost steam.
Yeah.
Like, again, balls don't carry.
It depends on it. Depends. You know, hit that way they don't.
In the daytime they fly better than at night, or it's something like that.
Something like that. And the ballpark is positioned differently than Rosenblatt used to be. And Rosenblatt was up on a hill, and this is down by the river.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things.
All
about
I know is this: home runs in other places die as long fly balls. In Omaha
again, with some exceptions. But so Georgia and Texas again tonight in a loser goes home game. If there's a silver lining for Georgia, if that's how you want to label it, they've only used 2 pitchers.
Yeah, they got a whole staff.
The kid the other night went to distance, and then even in a loss last night, Aoki went to distance. So that's surprising to some degree, but you didn't. Again, he was brilliant. He had a rough first inning, and other than that, he settled in just fine. Oklahoma couldn't do anything.
Let's face it, Georgia's got everybody but Aoki.
Yeah, they're going to be Charlie Holstaff in it for the next couple of nights. But and look, I don't know how many arms Texas has used, but I will be, because again, you and I agreed. And look, this is the beauty of the College World Series. We said. I felt that the winner of the Saturday night Georgia-Texas game had the inside track, and yet here's Oklahoma.
And guess what? Now Georgia and Texas are playing again. The loser goes home.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma is through now, undefeated, just like North Carolina. And you're sitting there, you're going, look, North Carolina we talked about in the beginning of the tournament. They were kind of that, keep an eyeball on them because they survive. Sometimes when you survive the way they did,
right,
teams go on a heater. But we looked at Oklahoma and we're like, I'm not going to speak for you. I was like, hell, Oklahoma's back in the College World Series. They have flown under the radar pretty much.
It seems like every time Oklahoma goes to Omaha, it's under the radar. and yet, I think the last time they were there, they played for a title.
Yeah, they were.
They've got a solid. Carolina played Oklahoma back in 2010.
Oklahoma is a good baseball program. They really are.
Yeah.
And so. Here they are, 2-0.
But in their state, it feels like Oklahoma State has had the better baseball tradition. But, then every time the Sooners go, it's like, oh, Oklahoma's there. Mm-hmm. And then you look and you're like, man, Oklahoma goes about every 5 years. They're there a lot.
And they're always good.
Yeah.
They're always good, man.
Real quick, before we talk to Chris Clark on the other side, there was further news last night. Most of you probably heard, but running back transfer Sam Williams-Dixon from Ohio was arrested over the weekend by the Richland County Sheriff's Department on 3 counts, and I think the USC police were involved, on 3 counts of larceny. He basically broke into teammates' cars, and in one of them stole goods that were valued somewhere between $2,000 and $10,000. He was released on a bond and had a date set for a little bit later this month. Actually, I guess next month. But last night, our good friend Lulu Kesson reported that Shane Beamer has dismissed Sam Williams-Dixon from the program, so he will not. And then no one was surprised by that.
Nope.
You've lost the trust of your team. When you're breaking into teammate cars,
come on now.
You've pretty much lost the room at that point. So on the other side, we'll talk to Chris Clark not only about this situation, not so much the legal part, but really the roster part, and we'll get into Chris ahead of a big Gamecock recruiting
and real
weekend.
Quick, think about this because we don't have time right now. And I asked Chris this, and I also asked Jack Felcher this morning. What's the most money you ever spent on a pair of shoes?
Oh, okay.
Because one of the items stolen was a $1,400 pair of shoes.
Yeah, I've not spent that. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
But just think about that for a minute.
All right, we'll do that. Chris Clark coming up next. All right, welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on. Jay and Terry. I didn't even know Chris was here. Chris is here working still, so I thought we were going to call him. And
Well,
next thing I know, as we turn the camera back on so you can see Chris, there he is.
what I was going to do is, I said to Chris, why don't you call Jay? And Chris, like, yeah, I'll just stick my face in the.
Well, that's what he did. I was like, oh, Chris is here. That's great.
Stare at him while we're talking.
How funny would that have been?
Yeah, that would have been. I was like, wait, it's talking on the phone. Hey, you're here. Wait, what? Huh?
Yeah.
No,
Chris
I was due to pay you an in-person visit.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah.
Plus, Chris has worked out. Chris and I have worked out a rental agreement for the down the hall production studio
Okay, that's
for Chris.
good. That's good. Well, what's funny is real quick, and then we'll get into the Gamecock stuff. And since Chris is here, I might just hold him over now. Like now, he's
See what you did, Chris? Now you're here for the whole hour, dude.
Careful what you wish for.
This is why our guests don't show up in studio because we keep them forever.
There's a big, nicely framed picture from an industry magazine in our office here. On the first floor in our studio, and it was they came in and took photos in one of the first couple of weeks that we moved into this facility from our old building across the river. Well, it just so happened that the day they came in, they took pictures of when I was doing the midday, but Michael was out, and who was guest hosting with me that day but one, Chris Clark. And so Chris Clark makes, with me, and I didn't know what was happening. We make this national publication, and then they put the thing in there, and I was like, hey. And so every time, that's all like, there's Chris Clark. So, because Chris used to be, before he got like super big time, Chris was one of my number one go-to guest hosts. But I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Chris, with the funniest part, when we did remember we all got the Gamecock Central thing together. How many years ago has that been now, dude? Feels like 10, doesn't it? Feels like about 10 years. Here's the first thing Jay said. Well, two things. First of all, congratulations I'm having from my buddy Chris, and B, you took my fill-in co-host.
I mean, he did a bunch of shows, man. He's good at
and
what
he goes, you sure you want to do this? Because I want to keep my fill-in co-host.
So, anyway, all right.
I'm glad we get to visit now.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. No, let's jump in. All right, real quick. I don't want to dwell on this, and it really isn't. I'm not getting your legal perspective here, but Sam Williams-Dixon dismissed after this arrest for larceny, and we now know it's teammate vehicles from Carolina residence halls, or at least apartments that a lot of athletes live in. So no surprise that he's been dismissed.
Yeah, no.
But what does that mean for the roster?
Yeah, I mean, real quick, like you said, the nature of that alleged crime, plus the added layer of happens one of the locations, 650 Lincoln, where athletes live, kind of put two and two together. Not something that was going to be tolerated, so a swift dismissal. And that is, I mean, you do have to talk about both sides of it, legal side of it, and then, what does it mean for the team? And, he was one of 3 transfers brought in this offseason, and frankly was at the back kind of the line of that room between the 3 returners and the 3 guys that transferred in this offseason, or that's the way it was trending. That was the projection after the spring. So from like a roster depth on-field standpoint, I don't think from a football angle it's a huge deal. And South Carolina, one of their goals was to build up depth. You still got 5 scholarship backs who have all played, some level of college ball, whether here or other places. Jabari Coleman redshirted, but from an on-field standpoint, not a huge significance.
Okay.
All right, so now that we kind of look at that running back room, and again, we still have a long way to go. And, we didn't get a spring game, so we didn't get to watch any of that. Not that tells us everything. What is the vibe you're getting out of the running back room going into the summer? Because Matt Fuller's gotten a lot of love, but Clark, the transfer from Texas, also has gotten some attaboys too. From your head and what you've heard, how's that running back room stack up going into the summer?
Well, it's a huge point of emphasis. I mean, aside from the 2024 season, South Carolina finished top 25 in rushing. I think they were 24th that year. Rocket and Lenora Sellers. You got to be able to run the ball better in this conference, or really at any level, but especially in this conference. And so it's been too inconsistent, the lack of production. We saw a lot of that last year where you look up in South Carolina, they've got -7 rushing yards. You can't live that way on a down-by-down, game-by-game basis. And so, that was part of it, is retain pieces from the current roster, from last year's roster, which they've done. Everybody that could come back did. And Fuller is one of those guys. I mean, he showed flashes of what he can do. LSU last year with the big run. even late in the game against Kentucky, kind of 3 yards in cloud of dust, but that's what South Carolina needed. All the indications we're getting is, man, this guy looks great. The offense, Kendall Browse, has been really good for his development. So everybody in the building's buzzing about Matt Fuller, but Christian Clark as well. We've also got Jabri Coleman, who Stan Drayton coached at Penn State, redshirted last year. He's a former 4-star who Georgia recruited out of high school. And then you've got Isaiah Agustave on the roster, who's played and, frankly, maybe could have played some last year. And Jawan Howell, who, when he's been given opportunities in games, has done well. So the depth picture there looks better, you know, because you feel like you got 5 guys who have played some college football, been in a college program. I think it's, you know, how does Stan Drayton break down the carries? Probably depends on the players. You know, who separates themselves? Is it a 1? Is it a 1A, 1B, a 1-2? But Fuller right now is the guy that's generating the most buzz, you know, this summer.
So, again, coming back to it, the loss of this of Williams-Dixon doesn't really seem to impact this ball club.
No, it doesn't really this year. And I don't think, you know, he came in, former Ohio State back, had 10 carries, 62 yards in his career. And that doesn't necessarily mean, he can't play. Again, Jabri Coleman redshirted last year. Jabri's probably a longer-term guy when he's stacked up against Fuller and Clark and some guys that have played more. Look, you want depth. I mean, Wes and I were just talking about it on the podcast a few minutes ago on GC Live. I remember, I'll tell the story probably way too much, but Brandon Wiles was a freshman 5th-string running back under Steve Spurrier, and then boom, all of a sudden you're starting against Tennessee. That can happen. This is a position where guys will get banged up. Yeah. It is 100%. You hope you don't get guys injured, but guys, you know, Ryan Brewer talks about the difference between playing hurt and playing injured. You know, and so guys will play hurt. You can't go into the season with one back, you know, one top option. Somebody's probably going to emerge and be the first guy out there. I think right now it's probably going to be Fuller, but you want to feel better about the depth. And I do think they feel better about the overall depth in that room. It's just how productive can you be? So there's a lot of questions that go into that scheme, offensive line play. But again, to circle back to it, you know, Fuller is picking up, you know, a lot of buzz internally.
All right, real quick, because you know, I was going to try to hurry up, but since you're going to stay till the end of the show, I got plenty of time now. Jawan Howell, real quick. You're right. When we see him, you see flashes, whether it's like an instinctive cut, a little wiggle, break a tackle, a little explosiveness. But it seems like he's never a guy talked about as more than, and there's Jawan Howell. And I'm just saying everyone does it. What the hell? What has he done? Help me out with this. Is it blitz pickup stuff? Is it things we don't know about that holds him back, or what is it?
Well, I think that's a great question. Last year, that was an ongoing conversation. Y'all remember? Mm-hmm. You know, LSU game, Fuller breaks off that long run, and you kind of feel like you don't see him much anymore. And part of that's just overall inconsistency. Mm-hmm. South Carolina wasn't running 90 plays a game because they were so poor on offense for the most part, aside from explosive plays. I think the rotation was one reason. You know, there were a lot of reasons into Shane Beamer shaking things up. I think that was one of them. High school recruiting was another. I think people want to see a more consistent, you know, who is the guy. And look, we just laid out, they've got 5 backs that from a talent standpoint they feel pretty good about. Can't play 5 backs. Can't play 3 backs in a game from like a carry split. You might see 3 backs in the game, but it might be 50, 40, 10, you know, or 70, 20, 10, you know, something like that. So, again, you got to be ready when your number's called. Jawan, you know, I mean, we were talking about the Texas A&M game earlier last year, and, you know, he made some things happen against a college football playoff team. From a talent standpoint, you know, he's got it. I think consistency is something with him. That's something Stan Drayton's big on. Who can be the most consistent? And so I don't think there's anything, you know, wrong per se that, you know, he's doing. I think it's just about who's the most productive, who's the most consistent in that group.
All right. Again, Chris is a prisoner of the moment, whether he likes it or not. So he's now going to stay. And
did you let him know he was going to be doing multiple segments?
Yeah, just now.
Just now? Okay. Yeah. As long as you let him know. That's all that matters. As long as you let him know.
That, to me, that's notification. All right. So hopefully he doesn't have to get back to the kids or do anything.
Yeah, well, guess what?
No dad duty right now.
As the kids are waiting outside of camp for Dad to come pick them up.
Well, the good news is the last segment of the hour is short, but we'll get Chris's take on some of the big visitor names coming into Columbia this weekend and what that looks like for Shane Beamer and company. You're listening to the Postgame Show. British Bulldog Pub is where Elijah and I are going to be on Friday for USA versus Australia, but they have every match going on pretty much all throughout the tournament. And I know next week, now not with us, but I know next week they are doing a giveaway for one of the matches in Atlanta, one of the England matches in Atlanta. So I'll give you more details on that, but you can come be part of what we're doing at British Bulldog Pub on Friday afternoon. Kickoff is at 3. We'll be out there a little bit earlier than that. Come by, see if you can eat as many sausage rolls as I can. I don't know if you can or can't, but you can try. And, I mean, so many great food. I mean, the chicken, bacon, and leek pasty. It's lunchtime. Might get that turkey, apple, and brie sandwich. Or I might get the fried cod sandwich or some fish and chips. Maybe have a pint or two. Watch a game. British Bulldog Pub, Bower Parkway. Come see us on Friday. All right, final few minutes of the first hour. We'll save the vault for a little bit later on so we can get into some recruiting with our good friend Chris Clark, kind enough to hang over here with us.
No, he's not kind enough. You forced him to.
Well, either way.
This isn't, he was kind.
I'm glad to be here, Terry.
Either way.
He didn't volunteer.
That's true.
Voluntold.
Turn your mic there,
Yes,
bud.
voluntold. He got
Chris.
it on. It's good. He's good.
Chris.
Yeah.
Is he good?
Yeah,
Oh, I
he's
lost
good.
my headset. You're fine. I'm
No,
like,
yes,
I can't hear
no,
anybody.
no,
Oh, my God.
No, it's him. You're good. I don't know what you're doing over there, Ford.
We're good here.
We'll take it from here. No, all right, let's jump in. First off, real quick, and you could go longer than it, but recruiting is not going as well as some would like right now. And the negative recruiting against Carolina for last season and where Shane is in his tenure is obviously playing a massive part, yes?
That's the significant factor. And for Carolina fans, I'm sure for the staff, it's frustrating because you're in on a lot of these guys and you're just watching them fall off the board, right? There's two different things. There's more than two things, but I think the two main things are, you've got the fact that Carolina's in on the type of guys that you need to be in on the high school front, but also when you're in on those type of guys, the competition is significant. You got LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, A&M, all these schools who have NIL budgets that are great, that are in the playoff, or they have a first-year coach where there's stability. And so given those choices, South Carolina has a lot of great stuff. So does a lot of these other schools. And so you're seeing them fall off the board. I think if you can turn things around, if you're South Carolina, and have a proof of concept that, things are stable, that last year was a blip, et cetera, there are more than a handful of guys. Trey Cigar is one of them who committed to LSU this morning. I think that can help you significantly. Even for guys who have already committed somewhere else, those conversations are ongoing. Frankly, if South Carolina had built up their commitment list and had a bunch of guys going into the season and then had a poor season, it could be the reverse.
Sure.
This is going to be open season on their commitment list. Also think the second thing to think about is, South Carolina could have reached on some guys or offered bigger money to like what you could call tier B guys to get some PR wins of let's get some commitments, right? They're trying to play the longer game of let's not settle. Hey, we think we're going to be a good team from a staff perspective. Let's go out and win some games, try to flip some kids. Now, obviously, the other side of that is you do have to go flip the kids, right?
Yeah.
But in this era, it's not over, especially in this era, it's not over until December.
Of all the flippable targets that we've talked about, which one do you think is going to be the most flippable down the road if things go well?
I do think it's maybe hard to narrow it down to one, but Segura is one. Trey Segura, the in-state running back from Burns, is certainly one. He was on campus last night. I think the train was down the tracks with LSU, but he's one to consider. Fred Ards from Orlando, who's committed to A&M's one. A.J. Randall, who's committed to Miami, the linebacker from Garner, North Carolina. I mean, there's several of them in that category.
All right, they got a big weekend coming up, and I know you guys at the website had a bunch of Josh Dobson, Davian Jones, Nate Carson, Marquise Evans amongst those that are coming in. Feels like all of these guys could be difficult, certainly to maybe get a commitment from this weekend. So, assuming that's the case, what does this weekend need to look like?
Well, I'd start with Dobson because, I kind of count him as still an in-state guy. He's playing across the border at Huff for his senior year, but he came up in Catawba Ridge. This is an in-state program for him.
And he just moved to Cornelius, which is right outside of Charlotte.
Just moved over there to play his high school ball for his senior season. Again, competition significant. A&M, common theme. Michigan, he's had some others in there, but really those two in South Carolina are the main players here. And he's been quoted as saying this, he gave South Carolina the last visit for a reason. He's got a great relationship with the staff. I would say that, look, Carolina, and this goes back to the earlier point too, the reason that we're seeing this in recruiting is not really because of NIL. South Carolina's been extremely competitive. They've got money to spend. And I don't think if they lose out on Josh Dobson, it's not going to be for financial reasons.
Okay.
They are battling, significant competition, number one, but number two, playing with a deck of cards that is maybe not the best hand right now from like a record and stability standpoint. So he likes the idea of playing for Shane Beamer, Torian Gray. Those are some things he's going to be looking for. Jeremiah Donati has been involved. He was a part of the last visit earlier this year that Dobson took. Will he be involved this weekend? I don't know, but he has been. So they've gone really all in for him. He wants to decide in July. So, again, how does that timing play in? I think for South Carolina, really you could apply this to all those guys. Competition significant. Nate Carson, he's been up and down. He's had probably 3 or 4 different leaders. Carolina gets the last visit probably for him before he decides.
He's from Irmo.
From Irmo. So, for Carolina, you put your best foot forward. Do what you can. If you can get some commitments, great. But again, long game. That's what they're trying to play right now.
Appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
Oh, no, he's not coming
great
back.
to be here.
4 o'clock hour?
No, he's got stuff to do.
Y'all have a show to do. You don't need me.
GC Chris Clark on Twitter, GamecockCentral.com, and he's here every morning as well. He is Chris Clark plus GC Live. He does with Wes every day, too. He's all over the place.
He's everywhere.
He's worldwide. Appreciate you, man. Hour 2 coming up.
As we get older and things just stop going the way we're used to or the way we want it to or the way it used to be or whatever the case, and a lot of times it's an issue that can be corrected. You can get back to feeling like you again, stronger, more locked into your life with more oomph, so to speak, sleep better, remember things better. It starts with a conversation with Dr. Dan, the staff of the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Just call 803-875-MENS. Set up an appointment. Go in and tell them your story. They actually listen. They'll do a testosterone test on you, and they'll put together a program that's specifically designed for one person, you, to get you back to feeling like you again. But it all starts with that phone call at 803-875-MENS and that consultation, which, by the way, is free. The Men's Clinic of South Carolina, again, 803-875-MENS.
4 o'clock Tuesday. Welcome back in. Hour 2 of the postgame show coming at you from downtown Columbia's Herndon Chevy Studios. Good to see Chris, catching up with him on dad stuff and other things going on. 10 and 11 are his. God, I remember. He's been around here a while. Good dude. I like Chris Clark. Good to see him. Thanks for surprising me there, Ter.
That's what I'm here for, man.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
it's good.
every now and then.
Appreciate that. Still 2-0 at the College World Series in a do or die, and it's West Virginia on top of Troy. Troy is the home team. West Virginia hitting 1 out, none on, top 6. Again, loser goes home. Winner will have to beat North Carolina twice to advance. That'll start tomorrow. Tonight, it's Georgia and Texas. We did not see this as the do or die game, but it is. Again, Oklahoma with a surprise win last night over UGA, 4-3 the final score. Again, the good news for Georgia, they've only thrown 2 pitchers in this tournament so far. So they have a completely rested and healthy bullpen. And you got your Sunday starter, you got your midweek guys that can start games. So Georgia should have arms, and Texas will too. They're both loaded. But and I'm not going to favor one over another at this point. I still think Georgia is slightly better, but
It's one game, man.
Yeah.
It's one game.
And again, Oklahoma in the driver's seat. So whoever does win tonight will have to beat Oklahoma twice if they want to advance. So right now, the odds would tell you that North Carolina and Oklahoma would be your national championship series, but we shall see. That's why they play baseball games.
Yeah,
but again,
buddy.
right now, Troy trailing 2-0, 1 out, top 6 to West Virginia.
I saw this on social media. I didn't see it during the game because it was such a blowout. I was like in and out of it. Eduardo Perez last night on the broadcast of Texas and Alabama was clearly showing during the broadcast how the Alabama pitcher was tipping pitches.
Oh, yeah?
That was phenomenal. And I only saw like a 2-minute blurb of this on social media, but they even did a split screen. And you being a former pitcher would have totally dorked on this.
Right. Well, that game was all while we were on. I just got we can't hear it. So.
You can't hear it, and plus it was a massacre, you know?
It was 14-2.
But so when the Alabama pitcher held his glove higher, he was throwing a change. Lower fastball curveball. And Eduardo Perez picked it up, or somebody on the crew picked it up, and they split screened it and they showed the difference. And again, I'm a total goober for that kind of stuff.
Right.
I was like totally dorking out on it because, first of all, if it was Eduardo Perez or whoever, thumbs up for catching that as you're watching the game.
Yeah.
And then 2, to be able to production-wise get it together and split screen it like that during the broadcast. That was some good stuff, man.
Number 3 should have been, I would hope that somebody somewhere that pulls for Bama is watching this and goes, somebody call Coach Vaughn right now, please, something.
Tell him to stop tipping the change.
Yeah, I do remember this, and again, I'll be brief when I do these things because I played high school baseball. That's it. But when I was learning to throw a change, I didn't want to throw that circle change because that was I didn't like that grip. But I threw the fork ball, so 3 fingers on the ball instead of 2. But so when I was like a sophomore, I was learning how to do that. And my catcher, who ended up being my catcher sophomore, junior, senior, would say, "Listen, I know what you're trying to do, but you're tipping it because everything you're slowing your delivery." Mm-hmm. And he's like, you got to throw it like a fastball. He's like, quit like telling yourself that you're trying to throw it slower because that's what nature does. That's what the friction's for. That's why you have a third finger on the baseball. He's like, quit slowing down to throw a changeup. You're just going to tell somebody that you're throwing a changeup. I was like, okay. And ultimately, I had to. But it's something you have. Your head does tell you things.
Yes, and what's interesting,
But,
you bring
but
this
by
up.
the time you get to college, I would hope that you've gotten past.
You would think
that.
because the tipping pitch thing, and it's so funny you brought it in high school. I remember playing pony league ball, and there was a kid that we played against, and he was a hard thrower. But I'll never forget my little league baseball coach, my pony league coach played minor league baseball, and so I'll never forget we're playing against this team, and it was the first time the kid had pitched against, so we had heard of him. He was new to the league, and he threw the first inning. I'll never forget my coach calling us over and said, "Guys, I'll tell you right now, when he goes to throw a fastball, he hesitates his arm because he's trying to get more momentum. He's hesitating his arm."
Okay. Yeah.
And we're all looking at him like, "Huh?" And he's like, when he hesitates his arm, he's throwing a fastball. If he doesn't hesitate his arm, he's throwing something. He's throwing a curveball. We lit this kid up for 7 runs.
Nice.
And it was just like, and because we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So you could kind of time up the fastball because the kid threw hard for a little leaguer, but you could time him up now.
Right.
You knew it was happening.
Right.
But my coach Pony League
See,
baseball.
yeah, that's good to have.
Looking for it, man.
It's nice instead of, I mean, with all due respect, having some. Well, I'm not going to say a job. I'm just going to say it's nice when you have that kind of expertise instead of somebody who's a professional of some sort that's not has nothing to do with sports.
I told you my story about my first year. My son played soccer as a little kid. His coach, he huddles all the families over. He goes, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. Yeah, coach. Yeah, I just learned everything about soccer over the last week watching YouTube videos." So this guy we had for my Pony League team was not that guy.
That's good.
God love him. He was I appreciate him, but he was not a coach.
We mentioned earlier about the Gamecocks and Chanticleers potentially playing, starting soon. Maybe not next year, right? But maybe soon. But I know we have a poll question today on baseball. What are fair expectations for the Gamecocks in year one under Kevin Schnall? A, just make the tournament. B, host a regional. C, Supers / World Series. Or D, not sure yet. I'll be honest, Terry, and this may sound unfair. I'm not going to let go of host a regional. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be a disappointment if they don't. And I know that, again, this is a rebuild, sadly, unfortunately, whatever label you want to place upon it. It's a rebuild.
Yeah, sure it is.
And that, pardon my language, that sucks for Carolina fans.
Sure it does.
But that's what's happening.
So you want to go from total rebuild to host a regional next year, Jay Phillips?
But I will say this. So here's what I mean when I say this. So this is not for me to sit here as some radio dude and try to apply pressure to the brand new coach. But I don't think you should let go of your expectations.
I get you.
So, like I say, you can have the expectation and have some realism go along with it next year. So, just make the tournament is probably more fair. Not sure yet. I see, again, I know I sound like I'm being critical of some people that have an opinion, and I'm not trying to do that necessarily. But you need to be sure. I mean, this is South Carolina baseball. So, yeah, look, making this fair expectation next year is not the College World Series.
No.
A more fair expectation is certainly make the tournament.
Yes.
And as we've talked about, it's not being one of 64. For South Carolina, it's being one of 48.
Yes.
Right? Because, again, South Carolina, the teams at South Carolina's level will never be a 4 seed in this tournament.
Right.
Your RPI is going to be too high, and you're not going to be that. So you're going to be a 1, a 2, or a 3. So there's 48 schools. You need to be one of those every year, certainly, and that you haven't been the last couple, or that you weren't twice under Mark or twice under Chad. That's what did those coaches in. Even though Mark made it the last 2 times.
Yeah.
Missing 2 times had more to do with it, and it just, again, a general malaise.
I feel like, and again, I think the normal expectation is what you said, host. I think for next year, because this has been such a, I'm going to be kind, dumpster fire the last 2 years.
Well, you mentioned the Bobby Ewing dream season. That's how I look at what has happened here. Like as soon as we can, you just go back and go, you know what? It didn't even happen.
It's insane.
Like, how in the hell did that happen?
What was that day like 2 weeks ago? You and I were sitting here and we just kind of looked at each other. We said, and we just took that pause and went, how the hell did we get here?
How does a school with 11 appearances, 6 appearances in a title series, or at least title game, depending on what year,
2 championships,
2 titles, a top 10 budget, a beautiful ballpark, in fertile
passionate
recruiting,
fan base,
passionate fans in a fertile recruiting territory,
and you end up like this.
Have a Hall of Fame coach have the 2 worst seasons in the history.
It's almost like it was done on purpose.
Yeah,
it's just incredible. And so I think because of where it is, just the 1 year for me personally looking at it, if you get back to the tournament, that's great.
Yes,
that's great. But I do agree with you. Once you get past that point, and I think Kevin Schnall will get them past that point, then you get back to the typical Jay Phillips expectation of hosting.
I'm not trying to say that 2027 you will host or else it's a fail. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that I do not believe it should ever be, since the question, and I imagine Elijah wrote this, since the question is what are fair expectations, I would rephrase it for my answer to say it like this. I do not ever think it would be unfair for South Carolina fans to think hosting is out of their reach.
No, it should always be within the reach.
You've got to set that should be the minimum standard here. Now, again, you're not going to host every year, and clearly through the years you haven't. You know, we talked about, and I'll bring this up again to make my point about teams that are playing better baseball than South Carolina these days. Arkansas. Arkansas was a 2 seed this year. It wasn't like fans were like, oh, my God, fire Dave Van Horn. But I assure you that the questions in the offseason will be, why were we a 2 seed?
And how do we get back to hosting?
Because
like
we're supposed to host.
Right.
So it's not like abject failure.
No.
It's where are the tweaks?
Sure.
We need to go win 4 or 5 more games somewhere. Did we just not have enough in the bullpen? Was it dumb luck?
Injuries?
Did somebody get hurt? Did we have 3 or 4 games where the ball bounced the wrong way?
Misevaluations.
So
right.
there's all kinds of things. But if it has something to do, again, and you can answer those questions. Typically, you can point, and more often than not, it probably does have something to do with your scheme or your talent in some way, shape, or form. But if a guy like Dave Van Horn were to look around and go, man, remember that game where, and I'm just throwing it out because I don't know who they, remember that game where Oklahoma had 3 doubles that were all like 1 inch from the line?
Right.
And they ended up, whatever, or something, whatever it might be, right? Like sometimes it just, the ball bounces crazy ways.
Or you're just in there saying, you know what, we thought our starting pitcher would be better, but it wasn't, so let's dig into
and then
what
you go get another, you got to go get another arm, right? And you can figure those things out. The same thing for South Carolina.
Sure.
That's why I say I think it's always going to be fair, which is a very subjective feeling anyway, to expect to host, knowing full well that there will be a lot of reasons in any given season and across seasons where you don't. But if you let go of it, if you lower it to say, hey, I just want to be in the tournament. That's why I still hate when people say that about football. Hey, I just want to make a bowl game.
No.
I mean, Steve Spurrier showed you that it can be better than that.
Yes.
And so, and it's not just about Steve Spurrier. Yes, he was the bulk of it in terms of how he got his staff and how they recruited. I understand all those things. But you've got some people right now, you can go get some things done, and you've been shown the way.
Yeah, and that's my thing about whenever people bring up South Carolina football, I like, look, you put the right guy in that office, you see what can happen here. So it's not, well, it can never. No, it can. You just have to have the right guy in that office. Now I hope that the right guy is in that office right now. Yeah. But if you have the right guy coaching the football team, we've seen what it can do here.
I mean, he's had an 8-win season and a 9-win season. Will had a 9-win season. I mean, you can do these things here.
And the ball coach did it consistently for a 5-year period. So it's shown it can be done here.
Yeah.
And it feels like as we're watching with Jeremiah Donati, we're seeing the financial resources being put toward this.
But to come back around to baseball, look, and right now, by the way, because I only gave out the answers without giving percentages, just make the tournament and host a regional are tied at the top.
Yep. 36,
next is not sure yet. And then pretty far behind that is Supers and College World Series. So, again, those top two, like I say, fair and unfair, going to be subjective anyway. And my point is not to say there is immediate pressure on Kevin Schnall to host and be one of those 16 schools relative to one of 48 schools. But at the same time, this program is too strong and too proud to begin to lower its expectations. And at least for me, that's where my expectations have been for this program. Honestly, Terry, for like 40 years, because Carolina hosted a bunch when I was a kid.
Right.
And to watch it not happen for a while was really kind of crappy. And then to see Ray host a bunch, and get it back, and Chad and Mark had a couple of hosting opportunities each. That's what you're supposed to do around here.
I mean, you saw it when you were young with June Raines, and then Ray put it on steroids to another level. And I think the expectation should be high here.
Yeah.
No, you and I have said this. This is not Nebraska football, man.
No.
This thing can still be one of the best in the country. Again, you got to put the right guy in place.
And I think they've got a good start going on here. So we'll see. Good luck to Coach Kevin Schnall. But answer the poll question. It's at 1075 The Game on Twitter or at jphillips1075. I retweeted it a little bit ago. All right, the latest in the Sorsby situation. The nightmare is over, or is it? Next. Love telling you about our good friends at AAA Heating and Air, Roy and Dana Finley and their crew. Fantastic at what they do. They have been doing work at my house for years now. And we had a new system put in a couple of years ago upstairs where my kids are. And we had an older system that finally kind of kicked the bucket last year. So we got a new one for that one, too, and everything is humming along so nicely. Everybody is very happy. Everybody's very comfortable all year long. If it's time for you to get a brand-new system, they can also make it very affordable for you at AAA Heating and Air. How about this? Guaranteed financing. You heard me right. And you can start off with a $1,500 system buyback rebate plus a 15-year parts and labor guarantee. So they stand behind every single product that they install. Their technicians are awesome, great people. They hire a wonderful staff, treat you like family. Call them up and tell them we sent you. 803-677-1500. A repair, a new system, anything in between. Work with my friends at AAA Heating and Air. Twenty minutes after 4 o'clock here on a Tuesday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. West Virginia has, I wouldn't say blown it open, but it is now 5-0 West Virginia.
Hey, Troy came back from 6-2 the other night.
They did. Not happening so far, but we shall see. But again, loser goes home. Winner gets North Carolina and has to beat them twice. And tonight it's Texas and Georgia. Did not see this as the losers bracket game, and yet here we are. Georgia all over Texas to start this tournament on Saturday night. Can they do it again? Again, Georgia, if there's good news for Georgia being in the losers bracket, they've only thrown 2 arms one on Saturday and one yesterday. So completely rested bullpen, and everybody else is good to go. Will that matter? We shall see. And France and Senegal in the World Cup, no score. And we are now in the 57th minute. And again, we will see you guys at the British Bulldog on Friday afternoon. Around this time, hopefully, America is getting it done against Australia. I saw a story before we get into this Sorsby situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't even worry about the guy's name because none of you have heard of him. There's an American guy who played in England for several years, and he now works for CBS on one of their soccer shows. And it's a smaller known show. And apparently, and I never saw this when it happened, but apparently they were having a live kind of watch thing when the World Cup draw was happening back in December. Now, I was watching the actual FIFA broadcast when that happened, so I wasn't watching others. But apparently, they had sort of a watch along on this. It's called CBS Golazzo Network.
I got nothing on that.
I know.
Okay.
It's obscure, man. It's obscure. And apparently, when the guy saw that America was drawn with Australia, he said, "Oh, that's a layup."
Really?
Well, again, he never played for the United States, and he never played like in the Premier League or anything. And I've seen him on TV. He's a nice enough guy, I guess. But the Australians have acted like,
oh, disrespect.
like Clint Dempsey said it or something,
Right.
or what like Christian Pulisic as a current star said it, and like the American guys are like, yeah, we don't really know why this guy would have said something like that, but now the Australians have taken it, so they're trying to make it bulletin board material.
Well, you're looking for anything, right?
Yeah. So we shall see. We shall see. But anyway, all right. So we've talked a lot, as has every show in this country over the last month or so, about this Brendan Sorsby situation. And certainly since last week when it really heated up and a judge in Texas granted him an injunction, basically just ignoring the rules of the NCAA and truly the rules of sport. When you bet on your own team, it's punishable by complete ineligibility, typically forever. And yet this judge who somehow saw fit to give him a 2-game suspension, which really isn't even in his purview, most people believe. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yesterday, there were 2 court filings in Texas, one in state court from the NCAA looking to put a stay on that injunction until the end of the football season, until the case was supposed to be heard in February. Obviously, there was no word yesterday immediately. And then the second filing was in federal court in Dallas, by the Big 12 Conference, suing both Texas Tech and the Texas Attorney General, who had threatened the Big 12 members with antitrust violations and all kinds of legal wranglings if they were to sanction Texas Tech in the future. And basically saying that any sanction against Texas Tech would be seen as an antitrust violation, to which their reply was, well, wait a minute. Now you're just saying we can't sanction anybody ever for anything, which obviously isn't right. Well, yesterday, we already had one attorney general from Oklahoma last week chime in. Yesterday, the attorney general from Kansas, and then later in the day, the attorney general from Utah got involved.
Right.
And said, yeah, everything the Texas AG is saying is wrong.
Right.
Like legally wrong. Y'all have every right as an interstate entity,
right,
with agreed upon bylaws to punish another. Well, all that happened, and then late last night, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, somewhere in there, 9 o'clock, we got news that Brendan Sorsby had his legal team withdraw the lawsuit and that he would enter the NFL supplemental draft, that it was a mutual decision from Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby. So this story is basically over. The reason I said, or is it, when I was kind of doing the tease in the last break, is that he's got to be accepted, if you will, into an NFL supplemental draft.
right,
And we won't know that until next Monday.
right.
And there isn't a guarantee that the NFL will go, sure, we'll make you eligible for our
No, they
draft.
haven't had one since 23.
Right.
There's no guarantee of any of this.
I think they will.
Yeah, I do too, because look, you and I talked about this. Someone will take him because there's 32 teams, and there's going to be a team that's so quarterback desperate, they'll throw like and we'll get into the supplemental draft explanation later.
Yeah.
But they'll throw like a 4th-round pick at it. they'll get him, and then they'll deal with the fallout and whatever has to go on from the NFL, and then they'll move forward with him. Would I do it? Hell no. I wouldn't touch this guy. I wouldn't have him near my complex. I want none of that smoke. What he did, I don't need anybody in my locker room or my organization side-eyeing this guy if he throws 3 picks in a game.
Yeah.
I don't think, is he got physical talent? Sure. But hey, you know what? He ain't Andrew Luck.
No, he's not. And we'll come back to him and the NFL part here in a second. And again, we'll explain how the NFL supplemental draft works because I had to make sure of it myself this morning. Because
it's a weird thing.
It's not just a draft like the draft. It's different. It's more like an auction. Nevertheless, Texas Tech's, I'm going to be kind, chairman of the board, Cody Campbell, who, again, y'all seen his TV commercials, and he's the one who says he's only in it to save college sports, and that's just it's not true.
That's a nice
he's here to save Texas Tech.
Yeah, he cares about Texas Tech.
But, put out, hey, and I'm just going to paraphrase, we met with Brendan's family. And by the way, why the chairman of the board is such a spokesperson, again, just kind of proves that he is running the show out there and they're letting him.
Yep.
He's doing them no favors.
No.
And, hey, we didn't do anything wrong. And we stand on firm legal ground. Well, you had the injunction. I'll grant you that. So there's your firm legal ground. But these 2 filings yesterday once I saw this last night, like I'm watching the World Series and I had the World Cup on too. And I was almost ignoring the live sports because I was poring over any type of legal opinion I could get on how, my word here, winnable these things might be, how serious they were. And everything I read said, especially the Big 12 one, that one was going to be successful. That one was going to – now, the state one, they might be like, no, we got an injunction and there's a trial date, so we're going to let this go ahead. The state one might have been one, but the federal one where the Texas AG came after him and then you had other AGs and like, no. That's not how antitrust law works.
No.
And that one was likely to be successful. I think Texas Tech understood that and probably told Brendan, hey, if we play you, they're going to come after us. And they can.
And the flip side of this is, Brendan's attorneys, Brendan's advisors could have said, look, man, you might not play. You might start to play, and then they might stop you playing. You might not ever play. You might just stay in limbo for a year and get a year older. Let's take this thing to the NFL.
Is that what you want? Because you can do it if you want. Because I think, Terry, you and I talked about this. See, people, I saw some things that were fair questions, like, and even from Texas Tech fans, like, so what's the Big 12 going to do? Nothing's happened yet. And I won't disagree with that, which is why I think I said to you yesterday or day before, or maybe last week, they might wait until he plays against Houston before they do anything because technically speaking, it was yesterday we were talking about this, that Texas Tech hasn't done anything. There's the threat, and it's kind of hanging over you, but the Big 12 clearly believed it had to act proactively with the way the Texas AG was acting.
Right. Let's get back to this. This is a very interesting
And I have one other question, and Terry and I saved this for air, so we don't know how the other feels, and I want y'all's opinion on this too, but how does Texas Tech really feel? Not publicly feel. How does Texas Tech really feel now that Brendan Sorsby isn't their problem?
All right, we'll get to that next on the postgame show. Jay and Terry on the game. I sit here and blab on about how great CHW cabinetry is, two-notch in Lexington. You know what? Let's go to the reviews. There are many. 4.8 out of 5 Google reviews, 5 out of 5 from House. They talk about how great the kitchen design is, responsiveness, pleasant experience, creativity. Here's one. CHW Cabinetry did an outstanding job on our kitchen cabinets. The craftsmanship, excellent. The team was professional and attentive throughout the entire process. Highly recommended. Another one. A few weeks ago, I noticed a defect in one of my cabinet doors, and CHW Cabinetry, after 2 years, came back out and quickly took care of the problem. After 2 years, we took a picture. They came back out and took care of the issue. That's what they're about. They are transparent, great customer service, fine quality, and they care about the customer. 803-520-6837. Give them a call. Get it set up with CHW Cabinetry. Oh, a few accidents in our first check on the traffic this afternoon. Alpine Road at Fairway Drive, also Kinley Road at Shady Lane, South Carolina Road at US 378, Two Notch at South Lake Drive. And then we have stop-and-go traffic in our typical stop-and-go traffic spot. I-26 westbound between I-126 and St. Andrews Road. That's between exits 108A and 106. Pop back in here. We'll continue our conversation about Brandon Sorsby. How does Texas Tech really feel now they don't have Brandon Sorsby around? We'll get into that next. Post-game show, Jay and Terry here on the Game Network at the Game TV Radio on YouTube.
$25 minutes in front of 5 o'clock. Man, I miss the old ZZ Top days. Those were fun.
Yeah, ZZ Top was good, man.
They were fun, man. That was fun. That was fun. Anyway, welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here on a Tuesday. Speaking of ZZ Top, let's may as well stay in Texas. How about that? That was apropos.
Look at you.
You didn't even mean to.
Look at you.
So, first off, we got a lot to get to. We don't have time to get into all of this. Look, Texas Tech is being very disingenuous.
Sure.
I'm just gonna. That's certainly my opinion, and it's an opinion shared by almost everybody, unless you are a Texas. I've seen some Texas Tech fans today, including some of their writers and stuff, saying and on their fan sites, not so much maybe like newspapers. saying they should leave the Big 12 and like
Where are you going?
Well, yeah, and again, not understanding because they're clinging to the notion, as I just said, technically speaking, Texas Tech didn't do anything wrong.
No.
Okay, I'll grant that. I'll grant that.
Technically speaking.
Technically, but here's the thing. Even if you didn't support Brendan Sorsby's lawsuit, pay for Brendan Sorsby's lawsuit, encourage Brendan Sorsby's lawsuit, you absolutely told Brendan Sorsby, hey, son, if you're successful, which is probably a long shot, and let's face it, he got the long shot. All right? He got the the UMBC beating Virginia.
Oh, yeah, absolutely did.
But he got it. Because you know what? You can't,
Get the
you
right
can't win
judge.
if you don't play.
Get the right judge.
But if you win, if you get it, yeah, you'll play because he had to ask. Well, hey, if I win, I am going to play, right?
Well,
like
he's
I know
gotta do it,
I know
right.
y'all have to declare me ineligible because
Right.
they did declare him ineligible. The school had to
had
declare
to.
him ineligible in order to apply for reinstatement, which they knew was going to immediately be denied on appeal, and it was. But the appeal is through the NCAA, not in a court of law. So the
Right.
court of law gave him the injunction. So they had to tell him, yeah, you win, you'll play. That's doing something, at least on ethical grounds, in a shady area.
Let's just be real here. Texas Tech was full of crap. No, let's just be honest. They wanted this kid to play because he was their best chance to win the Big 12. Because again, let's look at the quarterback room. You got a guy on crutches. You got a guy from Wake Forest.
Well, that's why they went to get him. Let me pause you. I'll let you finish. But that's why they went and got Sorsby.
Right.
It was because they had a guy on crutches.
Right.
If he wasn't hurt, Will Hammond,
Yeah,
who
Will
is going to
Hammond
be
be the
their
starting
starter,
quarterback, right.
then Brendan Sorsby is at LSU.
Right. Absolutely. Then LSU's got a problem.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
I mean, look, you got a guy with one good ACL, another guy who kind of couldn't get it together at Wake Forest, and you have no plan B, Jay. This is your guy, and by the way, you paid him 7 figures to come play for you, so you have a financial investment.
Solid 7.
You're looking at $4 million, $4 to $5 million, depending on what you read. You have an investment. He's your best chance to win, and you are doing all the things you're doing as an athletic department to win.
Right.
You don't give a bleep about anything else but W's. That's who you are. You firmly stated that, and that goes from the grand poobah of the university, Cody Campbell.
Yeah. Who, again, is
The Fidel Castro of Lubbock.
is driving their PR
Yes.
into the oil under the ground of Lubbock,
Right.
Texas, man. That's down there somewhere.
And that's what you just cared about W's. And I said this to you the other day. If you would just stand in front of a microphone and say, we, Texas Tech, just care about winning. He's our best chance to win. We paid him a buku amount of money. We're riding this train until it crashes. I'd respect you. I'd still disagree with you, but I'd respect your honesty.
Yeah. But
This dog and pony show is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And just a sidebar. That's why we're very lucky here in this town. We have fan sites that don't write like that. And we're really lucky. Any of the fan sites in this town are objective, and they don't go that route of blindly going fanboy and swinging on the lower extremities of the university to play and cater to their message boards, right? They're very objective. That crap being written by people who are pretending to be writers is embarrassing.
Yeah, it was.
Let's just get that out of the way.
It was a bit much overnight, and this morning, and again, just leave the Big 12 for where?
Where are you going, man?
The Mountain
you going to the
West?
Sun Belt? Where you want to go?
Yeah, because the SEC, look, the Big Ten is never taking you. I assure you.
Big Ten's not taking you. SEC's not taking you.
Well, I mean, again, the Big Ten's never taking
Never,
you.
no, the Texas Tech.
Even if this weren't happening.
Right, they wouldn't take. Neither would the SEC.
No, I mean, the SEC might think about you, but the Big Ten's, you're never.
Put it this way: the only reason anyone's thinking of you is 3 words: Cody Campbell's money.
Well, maybe.
If it wasn't for that, you are getting.
But
no
even the
thoughts of
SEC,
anything.
I think, is not.
No.
They don't need you.
Here's the thing,
they
right?
got 2. They don't need you.
Right, they got A&M and Texas.
But again, the Big Ten, they're like, you want what?
What?
No.
Exactly. And so, the ACC is so desperate half the time, who knows what they would do. But the
No,
point,
even they would go, no,
the
you're
point
not joining
is,
our league.
the point is, to me, is like, we know what you were doing. Quit. Just to stop.
Yeah.
Stop. So to your question, I love your question. So what do you think Texas Tech is really feeling right now?
I think they're elated.
Could be.
I think they are, thank God, this is no longer a problem for us. And how do we find a way to get out of this quagmire and turn our reputation back around, because our reputation has never been that great. Like you pointed out, you're Texas Tech. Listen, so many national writers have been saying that. I mean, Stuart Mandel slammed them the other day with something about, they were saying something about, "Hey, look at all the television." And they're like, and then he mentioned like, yeah, your television market is one lower than like Medina, Oregon.
Yes. Exactly.
Like you don't offer what you think you offer. You had a good season and we're happy for you, but that's it. Like, you don't offer anything. The SEC, again, the SEC doesn't need you. They have UT. They have A&M. They don't want you. They don't need you, and they're not coming for you. And again, the Big Ten would never, because Texas Tech, that would never. So
I get what you're saying.
I think that now, listen, Cody's still going to try to run his mouth.
I'm going to get to him in a minute with this, so go ahead.
But I think they are like, because honestly, Terry, and I think Kirby Hocutt in his statement last night in so many words said it without saying it. We were real conflicted, he said. I think he used the word conflicted or something along those lines. I think they thought he was going to lose, first off. That the injunction was granted probably shocked the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it did happen, they were like, oh, crap. Now we got to play him because we told him we would. Even if they come out publicly and never say. That's why I say publicly they're going to do one thing. Privately, right. I think they are thrilled that this is no longer their problem.
I'm going to give you another angle, and I'm kind of going the same route.
They're not elated he's not going to play, mind you.
No. They know that they're now falling down 5 notches on the field.
Yeah, this isn't about playing. This is about,
here's another
not our
point.
problem.
Here's a point of that, to the elated part 2. This is what I thought of. They're elated because they're stuck with Cody Campbell because they need his money.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I shouldn't say I guarantee because I don't know these people. My guess is they all can't stand to deal with this, but they know they have to. This guy is an egomaniac. He's power hungry, and he's just using his money to get to do the things he wants to do that he knows he wouldn't be doing if he didn't have the money, right?
Correct.
He's that guy in your neighborhood who you really don't like, but he's got a lot of money and a cool car, and he can take you out at night and go places you want to go, so you put up with him. We had a guy like that in my neighborhood. His family had a hot tub, a boat, and a really cool car, so we act like we liked him. And that's Cody Campbell. That's who this is. Texas Tech now gets, because there's one person upset about this, truly, Cody Campbell.
Yeah.
Because he just wants W's.
Yeah.
He wants to win. He wants to be right. He is total nutbag. And he did not want this to happen. Everybody else, after Cody walked out of the room, said, yeah, Cody, we're like you. Yeah. Cody walked out, they all went, oh, thank God.
Right.
Is he gone? Yes, car drove away. Thank God. They are hitched to the wagon of a guy that they're stuck with.
Yeah.
Remember that old Saturday Night Live?
Oh, he will outlast
all of them.
ADs, presidents, and he'll be hiring them.
Remember that Saturday Night Live skit with the relative that wouldn't leave?
Yeah.
That's Cody Campbell. Sure. You're stuck with him.
Except he pays for everything.
Well, that's why you're stuck with him. Yeah. He's that guy that buys everything but drives you crazy, and he's annoying, but he pays for everything. Yeah. And so I think they are happy to get out of it, to your point, but even happier because they know they had to go with Cody. And Cody wanted to win with this thing, and Cody was dragging them along, and none of them were really comfortable, but they got to go with Cody because Cody's got all the money, and he's got the car, and he's got the hot tub, and the really cool house.
And a lot of other things.
Yes.
And it'll continue. So,
Hey, by the way, everybody at Texas Tech, this one's over. The next one's coming.
Something else, yeah. That's what I said. Their saga may not have ended just yet. And again, what if he doesn't go to the supplemental draft? We shall see. Does he sue to be reinstated? All right, we'll explain that draft, and we have a World Cup update from British Bulldog coming up. And we thank our friends at the Bulldog for providing us this update. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you. What if we called this a WHIRLED Cup update? Could we do that?
Sure.
Would that get us in trouble?
Probably not. If we spelled it.
If I spelled it, but then if I spell it, I can't say it.
Right.
World.
Yeah, you have to go to
World.
World. Put an H in the beginning.
World.
Like you're
Cup update. Spain and Cape Verde drew yesterday. Belgium and Egypt drew 0-0. Spain, Cape Verde 1-1. Belgium, Egypt yesterday. Saudi Arabia drew 1-1 with Uruguay. And last night, Iran, as predicted on this very program, a 2-2 draw with New Zealand. It's the first time since the 1960s that all games on one day in the group stage were draws. And I know for those of you who are not fans, you're like, draw. Listen, a couple of these were really good games. The Belgium-Egypt game was good, and that Iran-New Zealand game last night was good. I know Iran right now is not a big popular player in the United States for obvious reasons, but the game was actually very entertaining.
I read something today.
2-2s in this stage can be very entertaining.
I'll throw this at you because I was reading a couple things about it today. One, because they've expanded the tournament, teams are playing more aggressively on offense because the old days, the strategy was play close to the vest, get points, and advance into the knockout.
Yeah.
Now, with an expanded tournament, you can be more aggressive and try to score goals and win games. That's what I was reading today, sir. Do you agree with what you've seen so
a lot
far?
of teams. So far, some games, again, you're still going to see some teams want to sit back and defend and try to counterattack. Again, there's a lot of early, especially as the teams themselves gel, because you don't get a lot of time. This is not pro. These guys don't play together. You get a couple weeks here and you get a couple weeks there. So, for something like this, you've actually had a couple of weeks, but they're still not clicking. And so you'll see a lot of coaches want to, play it closer to the vest, as you said. I hate the term playing not to lose, but again, like yesterday, there's nothing wrong with not losing. You'd rather win, but losing is bad.
Right, you get a point if you
you get 1 point in the standings. You get 3 when you win, and then as you get a little better, you get a little more aggressive. To your point, yes. But yesterday, I mean, the Saudi Uruguay game and the Iran New Zealand game were actually entertaining. And again, I was trying to watch some of those while also split screening. Thank you, YouTube TV, with the Georgia game and the Georgia Oklahoma game last night. Today at the World Cup, France is now asserting itself over Senegal, who I got to see the other day up in Charlotte. That was fun when USA beat them 3-2. France 2-0 right now, and we are nearing the conclusion. We're in the 89th minute. Tonight, Iraq and Norway. Watch out for Norway, kids. Dark horse team with some really good players, including one of the best strikers in the world, Erling Haaland, and one of my favorite players, Martin Odegaard from Arsenal. And then tonight, he's back. Lionel Messi and Argentina, 9 o'clock against Algeria. So Messi and Argentina trying to be the first repeat champion since Brazil. 58 and 62, man.
Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
You know who the star back then was Pele.
Pele, a young Pele.
18 and 22, I think, when he won those back-to-backs. But that's the last time we've had back-to-back World Cup winners was Pele.
You know what's funny? I read this today,
and you know what? It was because of Pele.
You think?
I mean, they were good.
Because the New York Cosmos had beat Brazil.
No.
I'm just playing.
They had Franz Beckenbauer.
I'm playing.
He was good too.
They did. He was great in Die Hard. So good. By the way, I read this today.
Gruber, different.
Same guy. 25% of
we were terrorists.
So good. I read this today. I thought it was interesting. 25% of the players in the World Cup aren't from their countries. It's way up to compare to what it used to be, like even a few cups ago, because between these FIFA rules and some other rules that they've kind of either tweaked or changed. A lot of people are, especially these second-level teams, are like poaching.
Oh, like Curacao. I think only one guy on Curaçao's team is from Curaçao. Everybody else is from the Netherlands, but they have
It's sort of like Italy in the World Baseball Classic, remember?
Yeah. Well, even America. I mean, I know America has at least right now. Now, you've got a direct tie here. Like for instance, Flo Balogun, who was the United States striker.
Scored 2 goals, yeah.
Flo, listen, his parents, he's from London, and his parents, they're Nigerian, but they were living in London. They happened to be visiting family in New York City when when his mom was pregnant.
So guess what?
And she didn't know she was going to have him when they were in New York City.
So he was born in America.
He was born in the United States, but he wasn't like they were. They were just like, oh,
Right.
crap, I'm going to have my baby now. And they didn't. I mean, like, you know, he came a little bit early, but then they moved back to London. And Malik Tillman's German. His dad was in the service, but he was born in Germany.
It's interesting. I was reading how all this can be manipulated the way it is in soccer.
Anthony Robinson is English, but he's got an American father. So it happens, man. All over the place. It happens. All right. Headlines coming up. How you watching all these great sporting events right now? Are you hoping you could do it better, but saying, I don't know, I don't want to go like hook up brand new TVs and sound systems. I'm not good at doing that. You know, or could I do it better than just getting a TV from a big box store and setting it up somewhere? The answer is yes. Call my friends at Integrated Media. If you've been dreaming of the latest and greatest in home theater, they are ready to help you out because they come to you. And listen, all the equipment that you buy from Integrated is the same price you're going to pay at any big box store or other retailer. What else you're paying for, though, is their expertise in installation, service, and just being great at what they do so you get it done right the first time. All right? Maybe you want all this done on an outdoor level with equipment meant to be out there all the time. They can do that for you, too. And get ahead of that football rush, 803-948-8327. There is nobody better with home theater than Integrated Media.
All right, accidents have cleared up, pretty much. Got a couple stop and go spots, obviously, Malfunction Junction. Iowa 26 westbound between 126 and St. Andrews. Still stop and go there. Also stop and go traffic, Dreher Shoals Road northbound between Irmo Drive and Dutch Fork Road. But the accidents are all clear. Just a little stop and go. Pop back in here, get our 5 o'clock news sponsored by our good buds, Integrated Media. That is next here on the Postgame Show. Jay and Terry here on The Game and The Game Network and at The Game TV Radio on YouTube.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Tuesday. It's also the final hour of the postgame show. Welcome back in from downtown Columbia's Herndon Chevy Studios. I'm Jay Phillips. Terry Ford alongside. We start with the story that has gripped the nation in the college football world the last couple of weeks. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby last night has dropped his lawsuit against the NCAA and has decided to apply for the NFL supplemental draft. Now, Texas Tech is in a position to not have to worry about this moving forward, perhaps. That's one of the things we talked about earlier in the show. The Texas Attorney General last week, Ken Paxton, trying to assert his authority over all of this, telling the Big 12, hey, you try to punish Texas Tech, and I'm coming after you. Well, then 3 other member states, AGs from Oklahoma, Kansas, and Utah weighed in, saying, no, what the Texas Attorney General is saying is actually legally incorrect, and we have your back. And then night before last, the Big 12 filed a suit in federal court in Dallas suing Texas Tech and the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton. And after that happened, it felt like there was a day of conversation, and ultimately Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby backed into a corner that they probably, Terry, just could not get out of. That's one of the ways that I portrayed it on Twitter last night. And so Sorsby has made this decision. Cody Campbell, the very vocal chairman of the board of Texas Tech, said they will not seek any money back.
Nope, whatever he's gotten, he's keeping.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. And this from Pete Thamel, it said Sorsby's decision caps what had been an active legal day. The Big 12 filed for a federal injunction Monday. The NCAA separately asked an appeals court for an expedited resolution to the local case, requesting a decision to be made before the start of the football season. Campbell continued to say that the school has done nothing wrong. It would seem that his colleagues at the 15 other members of the Big 12 and many schools beyond the Big 12's borders would disagree. Nevertheless, this is basically over. So you may ask yourself, what exactly is the NFL supplemental draft? And how does it work? Is it just like the draft in April and you just have some players and people have picks? No, it's not. Here's how it works. First off, a player like Brendan Sorsby has to apply for this and be approved for this.
Right.
Typically, and Sorsby fits the bill, it is players who are otherwise ineligible for the regular draft or had something happen between the draft in April and the start of the NFL season. It could be academics. It could be, again, the NCAA suspension or for Sorsby.
Ineligible,
it could be, I mean, I hate to say it this way, it could be criminal situations where a kid has been removed from his team or school and they lose their eligibility, again, after the April draft. Yep. So it's like an auction. And here's how it works. There are 3 tiers, T-I-E-R, 3 tiers with this. Tier 1 is teams with 6 or fewer wins last season. Tier 2 is basically the remaining teams with more than the 6 wins, but that did not make the playoffs. And then Tier 3 are the teams that made the playoffs. Basically, at that point, you bid. So, in other words, okay, there's 7 rounds in the draft. And all of these teams, should they be interested in a given player, will basically, it's like a blind auction, will submit a bid into the NFL office. So for, let's just say, Brendan Sorsby, and we're just going to pick a team. We're going to pick Tampa. Tampa Bay Buccaneers send a blind bid of a 4th-round pick. And now Tampa, did they make the playoffs last year?
No.
Okay, so they'd be in Tier 2, right? Probably, because I think they had 8 wins or something. So, but then let's say
the Jets.
The Jets,
who stunk.
Yeah, and they would put in also a 4th-round bid. And then let's say, I'll bite the bullet. My Broncos put in a 4th-round bid. The Jets are going to win the auction because the Jets are the worst of those teams that have the equal pick.
Right.
So if you really want this guy, and then you lose the subsequent round pick next spring.
Or if the Broncos decided they wanted to throw a second round pick at Brendan Sorsby, they would get him out of those three because their pick is higher.
And if your pick is higher,
right.
But I'm just saying. So,
I'm just saying
if
for
your
people
picks,
to understand.
yeah. But if you wanted, I mean, look, if you're if the Jets, and the Jets probably would. If you want to do a first rounder, or the Browns, first rounder, sure, go ahead.
But it is. It's like if everybody's equal, the three tiers. It's like the lowest tier, obviously the worst teams. The second tier is like that mid-level team in the NFL. You're not in the worst, but you didn't make the playoffs. And the third tier, the playoff teams.
Right.
And at the end of the day, my guess is that nothing more. I would be stunned if anybody put more than a fourth-round pick toward this guy in this situation. I could not.
I thought you were going to say third, because I certainly wouldn't certainly wouldn't waste a first.
I can't give a look, and this is just me. I cannot give a premium round pick for this guy. I can't, because it's not even about on the field. I mean, I have concerns about him on the field.
Yeah.
This mess, and it's a mess, and I'm being kind.
Yeah.
This mess is a real problem, and I don't know what I'm bringing into my organization, my building, my locker room. I don't know, and this kid can sit in front of me and lie all day long, right? I don't know. All I know is this. You bet 40 times on your own team.
Mm-hmm.
And you were not 6 years old.
No.
You knew what you were doing when you did it. And the excuse you want to feel close to your teammates is the biggest load of bleep I've ever heard in my entire life.
And if it has indeed, as we expect, and we'll give it the full benefit of the doubt, that it has turned into a full-blown gambling addiction, for which he has sought help, that's wonderful. And I hope he gets his help.
Sure. Being
in the locker room right now, being in football camp right now, and trying to navigate that, where you might have some other guys who do like to gamble still, and you're around. And it's not to say there'll be a bad influence, but if it's truly as bad as Texas Tech has made it out, and Brendan Sorsby, and at least his attorneys have made it out,
right?
Then an NFL team is going to go, well, son, potentially at least. I know I would. I don't know that we can take that on right now. You need to do you first.
Well, that's really what this is about, right?
And let's make it really. That's what we've all been saying anyway, right? About Texas Tech. Is hey, we get you that he needs help, and you can help him and keep him on the team. But to claim in front of God and everybody, the only way he can really be fully rehabilitated is if he plays football next season. No one was buying that.
No, and I think and look.
And he's not going to play in the NFL next season, even if he gets on somebody's team.
No. And that's the thing. If you want to, because, all right, let's just get the reality of the business part. A premier round pick, a first, second, or third round pick is looked at as a player that you think either right away or in a short span of time is going to help your team on the field. Once you get into the third round, now you can those are picks, low risk, high reward type of thing, right? So I would, and I wouldn't do it, but if you're going to do it, I would never go more than a fourth or fifth round pick for this kid, because if I do get him, let's say a fourth rounder, that's a low risk, and if I can get him rehabilitated and get his head on right, and then we get to the football part of it, the things he's got to do better, and I can actually get a franchise quarterback out of him that's not going to grab his bleeping DraftKings app every now and then you know what? I only give a fourth round pick for him, Jay, but if it doesn't work, I only give up a fourth round pick for him.
Yeah.
That's how I would navigate.
I don't disagree with you at all. And I have no way of look, first off, again, he's got to be approved by the NFL. And that may be more difficult because of his specific situation than it is for anybody. I would imagine the NFL is going to okay him. If you ask me today, do you think I would say, yeah, I think they'll approve him to be draftable. But there again, does it mean someone's going to draft him?
Right.
And who knows? I think, in fact, I believe, am I right, Terry? The last one they had was in 23, but nobody was picked.
Right.
So the last time they had one of these, they approved a couple of players, and nobody took them.
Exactly.
In fact, let me go back. Hold on. The last player taken in a supplemental draft was defensive back Jalen Thompson in 2019 by the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So that's the last time. So it's been 7 years. And now they didn't even hold a supplemental draft the last 2 years because nobody applied. So they didn't need to. But the last time they had one in 23, 2 players available. Nobody picked them.
And that's the thing about this. Now,
But I do think somebody would pick this kid.
I think someone will take Sorsby just because, like you and I talk about this all the time.
It's a quarterback.
It's a quarterback league. People are desperate.
Yeah.
They'll do desperate things. So someone will take him. Like I said,
if only to secure his rights and like, hey, go get better, kid. And
right.
I tell you what, we'll see you in June for the next mini camp.
Because here's my thing. Here's how goofy this is. First of all, drafting a quarterback in the first round is a 50-50 crapshoot.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at the percentages of hit and miss rate. I think it's under 50% now of a hit rate for first-round pick quarterbacks. And then all of a sudden, someone takes Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant, and you go to the right team and the right quarterback whisperer, and you put him in the right offense, and you build the offense around his strengths. All of a sudden, you take Mr. Irrelevant, make him a franchise quarterback. So,
or that Brady fellow who was a
that guy was. By the way, he was New England's second sixth-round pick. So that's why someone's going to take him, Jay, because truly, the NFL won't say this out loud. They don't know what the hell they're doing with quarterbacks.
I know. Well, you know why? Because they can't develop their own, but that's another story.
That's another story. So, I mean, point being is someone will take a flyer on him just because of that, right? But I just can't see anybody giving a premium round pick because, again, that's gold. And this guy is such a wild card, and it's a high risk, and it's an unknown. And look, I should say this. There are teams in the NFL that would do it, and I would go, oh, yeah, them? Sure.
Yeah.
So I should probably say
I would even hope that those teams would at least not, be so foolish.
I will say this.
And look, the kid can play a little bit, but you and I were talking about his football, and because the off-field stuff speaks for itself. And again, and we truly do hope this young man gets the help that he needs, if that's what he really, really needs.
Mm-hmm.
But at Cincinnati the last couple of years, remember, it's the same conference as Texas Tech.
Right.
But let's not. He didn't move up from the American or the Sun Belt.
Right. No, he was in the Big 12.
He was in the Big 12. In November, now it's not all on him.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati was 0-8. They were 0-4 in both Novembers that he was there. And his numbers, his production from September and October to November goes down dramatically. Now that I think that's a lot to do with what's around him, and it's a lot to do with the fact that by November the schedule gets hard, and he was just not as productive. And he had a lot more mistakes. And I read about this morning. The scouting was like, by November, things were just different with him, both Novembers. So it doesn't have anything to do with what all this did. There was nothing like this weighing on him back then. So he kind of runs hot and cold. Again, a lot of tools. And I'm sure a quarterback coach, whisperer, as you pointed out, would want to get with him. And they love to mold and correct and fix. But you certainly wouldn't do it for a first or second rounder.
No. And I'll say this. Let's say none of this is happening and he's just in the draft legit. He is no better than a late first rounder. Someone was saying, they take him ahead of Ty Simpson. Well, Ty Simpson was a reach. Everyone seems to have amnesia that when Ty Simpson was taken by the Rams middle of the first round, everybody went, how drunk are those guys? Because Ty Simpson was looked at as a guy who's going to get taken probably early second round, late first round at best. I heard a great comparison today. Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network kind of compared him to Jackson Dart. Physically,
I saw the physical. I saw that too.
Yeah, and Jackson Dart went late first round.
Yeah.
So Brandon Sorsby probably.
But a lot more battle tested, man.
To me, Dart played against better competition.
Yeah, a lot more battle tested.
If it's me and I was taking Brandon Sorsby, I wouldn't have taken him any earlier than the second round, maybe early second, because he's got physical tools. But like you said, it is. Look, 2 years in a row, he has struggled against power conference opponents. He really has.
Yeah, his numbers in the Big 12 are not nearly as good as the non-con, and they don't play a tough non-con.
I was going to say, this is not rugged defense, so there are things he needs to work on in general. Throw that into this other mess we're talking about, and then you got what you got.
Real quick, Braves back at it tonight, hosting the San Francisco Giants. Grant Holmes goes against Adrian Hauser. I did it wrong. Grant Holmes, his hair and mustache. Braves have a 7.5 game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies. College World Series, West Virginia up 7-0, top 8 in a do-or-die game. Tonight, it's Georgia versus Texas. Loser goes home. This WVU Troy game, the winner will get North Carolina, and the winner of Georgia and Texas will see Oklahoma. We got some Gamecock basketball news, both men and women. That's part of the Gamecock Notebook. Next. All right, it is Gamecock Notebook time. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. We're going to have a fun drive around the SEC coming up. Stay tuned for that. We're playing over-unders.
Should be cool.
I know. I heard a couple of them, but there's 16 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry is going to throw over. We have brand new over-under win totals for SEC teams, and so Terry's going to throw them at me. And these won't be my full-on predictions, but they'll be close. By the way, JM hits us on Twitter. Says, I'm cautiously optimistic about Gamecock football this season. By the way, tell Ford I'm cooking Baltimore pit beef sandwiches.
No.
Now you got to real quick. What is Baltimore pit beef?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, Baltimore pit beef. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of places like that just do this. They make Baltimore. It's a special way they make the pit beef, and I'm not smart enough to explain this, but a lot of places you'll go to, they have the special Baltimore pit beef sandwiches.
Okay, so like it's just like around here they have like pits for a pig.
Same kind of thing.
So it's just, but it's instead of a pig, it's side of beef.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, but it's in the pit, so it's nice and slow.
It's really good, man.
Okay.
I'm so jealous of him.
Okay. Well,
It's really
JM, far be it from me to be presumptuous or anything, but if you want to bring some leftovers tomorrow,
We've got no problem with that.
to 1301 Gervais.
We are here to
We're on
sample.
the first floor, man. You can listen. I'll even. You didn't hear this from me, but you can just put your hazards on Gervais Street.
That's okay.
Jump out of the car,
We're
first
okay.
floor.
We got security to help make sure your car is okay.
Yeah. Just tell them you're a delivery guy.
Well,
Because
yeah.
you know what? You are.
You are. What we'll do, if worst comes to worst, we'll have David Dare go out there and block
No,
traffic.
because Dave will eat the Baltimore pit beef, and I don't want him to do that.
Dave won't do that. He doesn't eat that stuff anymore. Dave's healthy now.
Well, is this unhealthy? Because I need to be a little bit healthy.
We're going to tell Dave it's unhealthy.
Okay. I got to be, I gotta,
We got to tell Dave the truth.
all right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you,
All
man.
right. Basketball news for you. First off, Lamont Paris has made it official. We had this news a couple weeks ago, but they made it official yesterday with the signing of Argentinian big man Juan Fernandez. He's a 6'11 forward, signed his financial aid agreement to play in the upcoming season. He joins the class that has Alexis Biliauskas from Wisconsin, Shane Blakeney from Drexel, Davian Hanna from Alabama, Camden Heidi from Texas, Corey Mincy from George Mason, and Jakub Nechas from
Well, look at
Duquesne. Yeah, I'm getting them right.
I don't know
man.
if you got any of that right, but it was impressive.
No, I did.
You sold it, man.
I did. I got those right. I'm good.
You might have got Blakeney.
I've been practicing. Yeah. I got him. Corey Mincy, I could say. No, I got him right. Jakub Nechas. And Cameron Heidi.
The one thing I've learned is when you're saying
Alexis Biliauskas.
when you're saying names that aren't of
I
our
watch a lot of
country,
European football, man. I've learned how to pronounce these things.
I was
through
gonna
the
say
years.
it just sounds like if you sell it like you are, I'm in with you. You could just be making stuff up. I'm going. Oh,
The ones I still have
pretty
trouble
good.
with. There's a lot of like. There's I don't even try them. But there's a couple of like Greek players, and I'm like, I can't say that.
Say,
I need you to be like the Brazilians and just come up with a one-namer
Yeah,
that's real
exactly.
easy to say.
I love that.
You know.
I love that. I'll tell you one of the funniest things ever. Way back in my early days in the radio biz, my first job away from home was in West Virginia, outside of Bluefield, and the owner did mornings. First of all, he never wore headphones, so he talked all over the music. But he's the owner; nobody cared. He'd do the lunch menus, and if some kid called for lunch menu, he'd yell at the kids, "Say, I just did the menu," and hang up on him. I just did the menu, boy. Listen right here.
Like the school lunch menu?
Yeah,
Okay.
he'd do the lunch menu.
Okay,
It's small
gotcha.
market radio, dude.
Wow.
And then he would try
Only
to
one
do
school?
he would try to do morning sports.
Okay.
And you should have heard him do tennis players.
Oh, no.
Martin Navratilova.
No.
It was the funniest stuff
Ivan
ever.
Lindell.
And he'd be on the air going, he'd go, I hate these foreigners.
Oh, no.
My man Sam was hilarious.
Well, he owned the station, so
He
I
owned
guess
the
let
station.
him get the FCC
he could
violations,
say what he
right?
wanted. That's right. Anyway, I digress. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there you go. So congratulations and welcome aboard to Juan Fernandez from Santa Fe, Argentina.
Feels like a better crew of out of the portal than last year. And he had
Yeah.
more money. Lamont had more money.
Yeah. But again, like you said, hey, now go spend it well. But
I like them better. They missed on a couple guys I wish they could have gotten. But this collection has more of a body of work you feel confident about than last year's
Billy
collection.
Auschwitz from Wisconsin and Hannah from Alabama. I'm I think,
Hannah's got an upside like
Yeah,
nobody's business.
I think
he's
those
the
guys can
wild
play.
card of this whole thing. In all seriousness, if he's a top 50 kid coming out of high school.
I think he can play.
If he's healthy, that could be an interesting player.
Dawn Staley has learned her conference opponents for the coming season. The home and home this year, there's only one in women's basketball. That'll be against Oklahoma. South Carolina will host, in addition to the Sooners, Alabama, Kentucky, and LSU. All of them finished in the top 25 last season. Arkansas, A&M, Auburn, and Florida will also be coming to Columbia. South Carolina, again, traveling to Norman. They will also visit Mississippi, Texas, and Vanderbilt. And Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Missouri. So there, again, are Carolina's conference games. Don't know dates yet, but once again, home games with Alabama, Kentucky, Oklahoma, LSU, A&M, Arkansas, Auburn, and Florida. And on the road, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Texas, Vandy, Missouri, State, Tennessee, and Georgia. Dates and times will be known a little bit later on. And they got Southern California this year. They're going to Duke to take on the Devils in the ACC Challenge. So they got a lot of big games, man. And I'm sure there'll be some others that I don't have in front of me at this point.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Tell you what, they don't have to worry about their strength of schedule.
No, she loves to challenge them. So that's they're going to Connecticut. They're going to play up at the Mohegan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that'll be good. All right, real quick here before we finish up the Gamecock Notebook. Yesterday, we were playing some of this. We didn't get to one. This is going back to Kevin Schnall's hiring, but this is a quote from Jeremiah Donati that I wanted fans to be able to hear. And this is on how he, as an AD, making his first big hire, cut 7, Terry Ford, how he kind of, honed in on getting the right guy.
We wanted to find someone that could come in and, put forth the standards that we've all come to know and love with this baseball program. Someone who, a person of high character, high integrity, someone who's going to do it the right way, someone who's done it, someone who's built programs and had success at the highest level. So when we started the process, this is how you hope every search would go, which is you're the best job in the market, and the outcome is you get the best candidate, you get the best fit. So we lucked out. We lucked out that Kevin was available and wanted to come here and come to South Carolina, and he certainly understood those expectations that come with being the head coach here, and they're lofty. And we wanted someone, I said this outside, we wanted someone that was going to run to that. But we had some great visits, including in person a couple weeks ago that I think we were going to meet for about an hour. We met at a clandestine location here in the state, and we ended up meeting for 3 hours. And candidly, we could have spent 3 more hours together. There was just kind of an instant chemistry, and it was very apparent he was the guy. He was going to be a great fit here, and so we just could not be more thrilled that he did accept the job, and he is our new head coach here at the University of South Carolina.
Kevin Schnall. So again, that was Jeremiah Donati on just putting it all together. And I know fans excited. We had our poll question today. Let me get to that before we get out of here on the Notebook. What are the fair expectations for the Gamecocks under Kevin Schnall in year one? A, just make the tournament. B, host a regional. C, the Supers / Omaha. D, not sure yet. Since we last gave you some results, we've had a couple of changes. Just make the tournament is now out front by itself at 41.7%. Host a regional is second at 33. Not sure yet, 16.7. And 8.3 of you say a fair expectation is getting to the Supers or Omaha. So, I'm holding on to host a regional. Again, not demanding it in any way.
You're not going to go crazy if they just make the tournament.
No.
You're going to be all right.
And you need to just you need to get back there as quickly as you can. But again, I think hosting a regional is always something that Carolina fans should have as a level of expectation. That's the Gamecock Notebook, a little SEC over-under, part of the drive around next. You know, how'd you like to start a business because you said, you know what, I want a pool, so I'm going to build a pool. And then you realize, man, that's a pretty good pool. Maybe I could do this for other people. Well, that's what Stanley Griffin did way back in the mid-1970s when he founded Griffin Pools and Spas. We lost Stanley a few years ago, but the family still runs the business, and it is still providing so much joy to families all across the Midlands of South Carolina. But imagine that. That's how it all started. He built his own pool and was like, man, I'm gonna do this. This is what we're going to do. That was back in 1976. Today, custom pool design, saltwater pools for low maintenance, aggressive schedule commitment, meaning, hey, once you're ready to get this thing done, they are too. And they'll be with you from start to finish, holding your hand, minimize those disruptions so that you have that backyard oasis you've always dreamed of. Stop in and see them. Talk to the great people out there. They're on North Lake Drive right near the dam. And you can always learn more at griffinpoolsandspas.com.
All right, check on the traffic. We were accident-free about a half hour ago. Well, that's changed. Accidents, 277 northbound after Faro Road, also I-26 eastbound before Airport Boulevard, that's exit 113. I-26 westbound at Augusta Road, that's exit 111. Laurel Street at Hugie, also US 601 northbound at Fredericksburg Drive. We'll come back, slap you with some SEC over-unders for the upcoming football season. That is next here on the postgame show. Jay and Terry, and we're hanging out till 6. Then it's Scott Hamilton connecting Carolinas here on the game.
All right, welcome back in. Drive around the SEC time here on this Tuesday. Jay and Terry with you. Again, all SEC affair again tonight at the College World Series. Georgia and Texas in a do or die. Winner will get Oklahoma, who upset Georgia last night mildly. 4-3 was the final. And even though it's not an SEC teams, West Virginia is about to advance. They are up now 8-0 on Troy in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
So that winner will get West Virginia is going to get North Carolina, and again have to win twice. Georgia or Texas will see Oklahoma and have to win twice.
And we'll find out from there where we go. I mean, look, can Texas or Georgia beat Oklahoma twice on paper? Sure.
I like that opportunity better than I would like West Virginia beating North Carolina twice.
Now, look, we've noticed, especially here in the last couple of years, anything can happen in this thing. But I just have a hard time. And look, I give West Virginia a lot of credit for the grind they put through in this entire postseason. Remember, they were hanging on for dear life for a little while. I just don't think they can beat North Carolina twice. Man.
Hey, look, South Carolina, in the 4 times that Ray Tanner played for a national championship, came out of the losers bracket, 3 of them. Twice against Clemson and once against Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it
can be done.
So, and all those, and I think I heard Ravitch say last night, 29 of the last 35 champions have come out of the winners bracket.
Yeah.
So it's
tough. Man.
It's just tough. It's hard to do.
I feel like North Carolina will get through, and we'll see where this thing goes with the Texas-Georgia winner against Oklahoma.
But I'm going to do this. You ready? All right. I'm not always the boldest guy out there,
especially when it comes to predicting. You're not a bold
guy.
But
I'm gonna. This is strong.
Go for it.
There will be a Southeastern Conference team in the championship series.
You're just nutty.
You're
nutty.
I'm gonna guarantee.
You're out of control. You're a wild man. Look at you over there. I don't know what's up with you today, man.
I feel good about it.
Yeah, it's not water in that bottle.
I feel good about it.
You're a wacko today. Yeah. All right, ready?
Let's do this thing. Let's do it.
All right, according to On 3, here are the over-unders.
Is this alphabetical or is this by?
No, this is by. You know what?
By win total.
I'm gonna go from the bottom up.
Okay.
Let's go a little different.
Let's get crazy.
Let's get wacko. All right, from the bottom, according to On 3, here are the 3 teams that should be finished.
And these are overall win total, yeah, not conference wins.
No, win totals.
Overall win total.
Here we go.
Okay.
Arkansas -4.5 over under.
Ooh. Under.
I'm going under too. I'm with you 100%. Mississippi State 4.5.
Over.
And this is getting boring. I'm going over too. I think Mississippi State. I don't think they're going to make a big leap. I think they're going to get better.
I think they're going to go 6-6.
Yes, I agree 100%.
South Carolina better beat them though.
Yes, another South Carolina opponent. By the way, these bottom 3 are South Carolina opponents.
They better.
Kentucky Wildcats -4.5.
Ooh. You know what? Over.
Over. I think 5. I can see 5 wins.
Yeah.
I can see 5 wins.
Over.
So I'll go over. Now, look, I think all 3 of those teams, I think I'm with you on 6-6. I think Arkansas is really going to struggle. I think Kentucky will finish under 500, but we'll go over that 4.5.
All right.
Vandy 5.5.
Yeah, over. I know they don't have Pavia, and I know they don't have who's our tight end?
Eli Stowers. I'm going to go under.
I think
they're going to be 5-7.
Oh, golly.
Because remember, they don't have a proven quarterback.
No, but
Kid Curtis is the
Clark
freshman.
Lee is starting to have listen, that would be such a major setback.
I know. I hate to say it. I'm going to be honest with you. I have become a Clark Lee fan.
I feel like they really need to go. I'm serious now. Not like he's not going to get fired. I don't mean it this way when I say what I'm going to say. But if you want to remain in that credible area that you've had, and again, Pavia was a difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to win like 7 games next year.
Yeah, even if the freshman ends up starting.
But if you miss a bowl completely,
I just
after winning 10 games,
I feel like they lost so much from that team, man. They lost a ton. Remember,
they did.
That was a veteran squad.
That's fair.
That's why I'm thinking that But here's the thing.
But gosh, to
cut
your wins in half.
I know.
They might though. I mean,
you can go over. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm going to go over. Are we writing these down, by the way?
Yeah, whatever.
It's on a recording, right?
That's right. All right, South Carolina 6.5. I'm going over. I can see at least a 7.
You need to win 7, man. So I'll go with that. And look, I'm the guy who thinks 8 should be the floor most seasons.
I'm going to say this. It's how much I believe in Kendall Browse.
Yeah,
This is all about Kendall Browse. No offense to anybody else.
Right.
This is my belief in Kendall Browse.
I think there's home game toss-ups. Tennessee, A&M. I don't like Georgia coming here.
No.
I think you can go to Clemson and win if you do it right, depending on how good they are at the end of the season. Both of you are. I'm just going to continue to say that South Carolina going to Gainesville better be 4-1.
I don't disagree.
And I don't think it's too much of a stretch to think that you but you could really be 5-1 out of that. And that's assuming maybe unfairly a loss at Alabama, who, as you and I were talking, listen, you outplayed Alabama in the last 2 ball games. You turned the ball over. You turned the ball over.
Yep.
Don't turn the ball over late. You win those games.
Yep.
It isn't like you got beat late. You turned the ball over.
I know this means nothing, but you outplayed them both times.
Yeah.
You really did.
Hey, and you lost. And so, I mean, that needs to be motivation. But I'll go over, but it just, man, you'd need to be 4-1 going to games.
Because again,
at worst.
Yeah.
At worst, 4-1 going to games.
Look, and I'm not saying this.
If you're 5-0 going to games, well, hey, that's a whole different story.
I just really look at Kendall Browse's record. Every time he goes to a new stop that first year, offense explodes. He's got a quarterback that this thing works out, and that offensive line can be solid, and Browse puts Lenoris in the position to succeed. I think he's going to. This offense could be a lot of fun.
Well, it's like we said last year, man. Like offensive line solid. If you're literally middle of the pack ratings wise,
do you remember when we did that thing where we said all they had to do was not suck?
Yeah.
You remember we did that? Be 12th or something?
Yeah.
And how good your record could have been?
Yeah. If you were just 12th in the league instead of last, and you'd have been like 90th in the country or something, I forget what it was. But if you could be like 70th, 60th in the country in an offensive line rating relative to last year being in the 120s or whatever it was,
you could have been a different team.
Yeah, it gives you. There's a couple more wins.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, here we go.
So I'll go over for Carolina.
Yeah, Auburn over under 6.5. Everybody's getting a little goo goo here about the new head coach.
They are with Golish. I'll go over.
I'm gonna go 6. I think they go under.
Okay.
Missouri 6.5.
Over. Why is it only 6.5?
6.5.
I thought he had a team.
Well, they have lost a few people. Austin Simmons is kind of an unknown at quarterback. I know we pick on Eli because it's fun. I believe in what Eli Drinkwitz is doing.
It's working.
I'm going over.
I mean, me too.
This one's interesting. Florida Gators over 7.5.
See, they got talent, man.
They got a ton of it. This could be one of those, Jay, where you ever see that like a head coach recruits well, but he just can't translate into wins, and he leaves the cupboard.
Yeah, I mean they got talent,
and the next guy comes in and he just clicks, and then in that first year everything just goes crazy. I think Summerall is going to have that year. I'm going to go over. I think Florida's going to be good.
7.5.
I think they go over 7.5.
All right, no, under 7. They're going to be 7.5.
All right, Tennessee over under 7.5.
Over. Tennessee. If Tennessee doesn't win 8 games,
I'm gonna go. I think Josh Heupel will find a way to win 8.
Yeah, they got players too. They better win more than
Oklahoma over under 7.5. I'm going over.
Over.
Defensively, they can win 8 games.
They'll win. I think they'll probably win.
I'm not as much on Brent Venables as others, but I think they have enough to win over 7.5. Ole Miss over under 7.5.
Slightly over. I think they're 8-4 next year. I think a few things catch up with them next year.
You know,
I'll give them 8-4.
Why I go over? 2 words: Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, he'll make a difference.
Texas A&M over under 8.5. I'm going over. I believe in Elko, man.
Yeah, I think they win at least 9 games. They're again loaded with talent.
Okay, quick. Over under LSU 8.5.
Again, loaded with talent. They'll win.
Yeah, 9.
Over.
Yep, over. Alabama over under 8.5.
Ugh.
I know.
Under.
I'm gonna go. You gonna go under?
Yeah.
I'm debating 8 or 9 wins. I'll go over 9 just for the heck of it.
Okay.
Texas over under 9.5.
Under.
I think they're a 9-win team.
Yeah, I think they win 9.
I'm under with you. Georgia over under 9.5. I'm going over.
Over.
Yeah.
Georgia will win 10 at least.
All right. Remember all these. We'll go back later.
All right. That's the drive around the SEC. Jay versus the Internet next. All right, welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Final few minutes. Scott Hamilton coming your way next. Before we get into Jay versus the internet, I'm as a lifer of these parts, I'm about 99.99% positive this is a first for a Gamecock. But gigantic congratulations to A'ja Wilson. She's already the best female basketball player on the planet. And now she will be adorning a Wheaties box. That's right. A'ja Wilson has her own Wheaties box. Said Emily Knox, who is the marketing director for Wheaties at General Mills. A'ja is the definition of a Wheaties champion, a generational talent whose leadership, resilience, and commitment to empowering others has set a new standard. She doesn't just dominate the game, she creates space for more girls and women to see themselves in it. And for A'ja, she said, quote, being on the cover of a Wheaties box is one of those things you grow up dreaming about. For me, this is about showing every little girl what's possible when you dream big. I'm proud of the work, proud of the journey, and proud to partner with a brand that celebrates champions who keep pushing the game forward. They have a mock-up of it here. I'm looking at an article from USA Today. It is going to be available, it just says later this summer.
Nice.
So be looking out for that. And check this out, too. On her 30th birthday in August, she will wear a special version of her Nike shoes that she's, instead of A2s, she's going to call them, because she wears number 22.
Nice.
She's going to call them A Wheaties, and she's going to wear them, wait for it, Tare, in the Twin Cities, the home of Wheaties and General Mills.
Stop it.
How about that?
That's cool. Very cool.
That's big time, man. That's big time.
Good for her.
Yeah. Wheaties,
That's
Wheaties
awesome.
box.
Think about that.
That's-
Statue
that-
doing a Wheaties box.
I don't know if people. I mean, I know like kids. Kids. People of our generation still look at like making a Wheaties box. I don't
That's the
know. I
thing.
don't know if the younger generation still sees it as
I don't think
big
they
a deal.
get what it was like from when we were younger. You made a Wheaties box, you arrived, man.
You made it.
Bruce Jenner, remember Bruce Jenner?
Yeah. Like that's the first one I remember.
That's
But I
same
mean,
here.
but like when Jordan was on it, anybody. I mean, this was, like okay. So, but way to go, A'ja. That's
Very nice.
huge, man. So Columbia's own A'ja Wilson, man,
Sweet.
on a Wheaties box.
Hey, by the way, I got something. This is not quite as impressive as that, but
Okay.
this is,
Have you ever been on a Wheaties box?
yeah. I laid on one.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Long night.
I was waiting.
Anyway.
I was waiting for something else, like yeah, sure. In the Baltimore City,
The
Law
Baltimore City
Enforcement Center. Yeah, we have a
Correctional Institute
Yeah.
Wheaties.
yeah,
Oh,
five-time incarcerated. Incarcerated Terry Ford.
I woke up at the beach the next day, hungover, laying on top of a Wheaties box,
Yeah, that's good.
and then I poured beer in it and ate it. Anyway,
We just disparaged the entire
Yes.
Wheaties thing we did. That's on us. Way
Yes,
to go,
it is.
A'ja. We're happy for you.
yeah, seriously, we're very happy. It's a great honor. In all
it's a big deal.
seriousness, very.
Big deal.
Okay,
All right.
West Virginia up 12-0. They're
Yep.
going to advance.
Yep.
More importantly, the champion of the 2026 College World Series Jello Shot Challenge,
Oh, jeez.
West Virginia Mountaineers, 24,357 shots
My Lord.
sold as of June 12th. Far and away crushing the field. Next, Ole Miss, 8,745.
Wow.
It would be great to see because LSU typically dominates this when they're there.
Yeah.
I would love to see West Virginia and LSU in a Jello Shot Challenge.
Talk about waking up on the beach, not knowing what was going on.
Yeah, I tell you, because, again, I lived in West Virginia for 2 years. I can totally see them crushing LSU in a Jello Shot
That's
Challenge.
a lot of Jello shots, man.
Those folks are
I got to be honest
top
with you.
level.
Pouring all those is not fun. Those little cups.
Yeah, little
then you got to
cups.
let them, set up in the fridge.
Jello Shot Challenge. Way to go, Mountaineers.
I don't think I've done a Jello shot since like I was in my 20s at a party before we headed down to 5 Point. Green Jello shots.
I will tell you the last time. Honestly, I remember this. There was a Malibu Beach Club in downtown Baltimore. It was like a theme beach bar.
Okay.
They had like little
The tikis.
palm trees and
Yeah.
tiki there. So
Okay.
I was like 25, 26 years old.
Yeah, I was probably about the same age last
That's
time.
the last time I did them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, man, it's only like 11:30. And we got to go down to 5 Points all day. This is a bad idea.
Oh, and it is a bad idea. Absolutely a bad idea.
Well, congratulations, West Virginia. And again, you're going to win today and move on to play North Carolina for a chance to go play for a national title. So we'll see what happens.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But you got to beat Chapel Hill twice, and that's going to be hard to do.
Absolutely.
All right,
All
we
right,
have
real
just
quick.
seconds away here.
Real fast tonight, Georgia, Texas. Who you got?
Georgia.
Georgia?
But again, maybe because I have a child with a rooting interest, so maybe
Probably.
I'm just a little subjective. But I do
Okay.
think Georgia has the pitching ready to go. So.
All right. World Queens Jousting Championships.
Oh no.
Keith Ryall. No, Sir Philip versus Dave Williamson. Who you got?
Well, I mean, if your name is Sir Philip and you're a jouster,
You got to win.
you're in.
No offense to Dave Williamson. I'm sure he is a
Dave
highly
Williamson.
skilled jouster. But you're just Dave Williamson. You're not Sir
Dave
Dave
Williamson sold me a car last year.
Sir
Yeah.
Philip, absolutely.
Yeah, Sir
In
Philip.
a route, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Nice work, man.
Good stuff. See you tomorrow.
All right. Chris Clark, thanks for hanging with us.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, watching, putting up with us. Talk to you tomorrow. Our final check on the traffic. We got a few accidents still roaming around. Laurel Street at Hugie still hasn't cleaned that up. We have a new one, Main Street at Colonial Drive. Also North Main at Fairfield and Clemson Road at Highway 12. Okay, we have Father's Day stuff to give away. Coming up on Thursday, since we're not going to be here on Friday, a Father's Day blowout sale. Every hour we'll give away a little something. to celebrate Father's Day, which is coming up this Sunday. That will be coming up again on Thursday. And Friday, we have a viewing party for USA and Australia at the British Bulldog with Jay and Elijah. All that gets cooking at 3 o'clock. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.